Lee Michaels. Welcome to the show. I want you to do something right up front. We say it every weekend, every week. I want you to punch it up. I want you to hit the share button, share it to all of the friends, and even to some of the people you don't like. Go ahead and share it to them because they might like us, even though you might not like us. I also want you to subscribe to this broadcast, whether you're on Facebook or some of the other social media platforms like YouTube, Twit, Instagram, wherever. We're here, there, and everywhere. Just go ahead and subscribe to the show. That helps us grow things here. Am I sounding kind of fuzzy over there? And maybe it's just my headphones. I don't know. But we've got a stellar crew here tonight. I mean, we normally have a good crew anyway, but we got a couple of extras. We got some extras. We're paying extra money tonight just for the extra guys. So let me introduce them first. First of all, another world-renowned radio broadcaster. You've heard him all over the country, especially on the East Coast, Mr. Buck Wild.
Oh, I thought you were going to introduce somebody else first. I was like, me? Really?
How you doing, man?
Man, it's good to see you. Good. And listen, it's nice to be on here. I've never been on here before.
That's right.
Matter of fact, this is my first show on the internet, on YouTube. My very first. So I'm a virgin.
Really?
I'm a virgin.
Why is that? I mean, why are you such a late bloomer?
You took my cherry.
I don't want it. I don't want no parts of that. Well, welcome and thank you for being a part of the show. And another one of my favorite people who I've had the pleasure to work with and admire from a distance as he has grown through the business, Mr. Mike Love.
Thank you so much for having me. You don't like the ambience of the sound here? Is it like real echo or something?
Yeah, it's kind of loud. You know.
Okay. Sorry about that. I mean, it's just a lot of space in here, you know.
Right. He's in the big house, y'all.
To catch the ambience of the sound. Buck Wild, what's up, baby?
Hey, let me tell you, Mike Love gave me my second really big gig, but my biggest gig in my career at WBLS in New York.
WBLS 107.5, wow. WBLS New York.
Yep. And I was a pain in the ass too, by the way.
Oh my God. Kid, never put him and Kid Capri together. I mean,
my boy.
Yeah, it's good cat, both of you. And we're all BLS alumni. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. I had the pleasure of programming the station and did go on the air for a few minutes, you know, when somebody didn't show up or somebody gets suspended.
What year was that?
What was that? 90, 94, 90, 95-ish?
It was like 95, something like that, because I left in 93 and went to PGC in Washington, and you came after me.
Yeah.
I left in 92. Mike was still there then, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So we blew up the 90s together at BLS.
107.5 WBLS New York.
Yeah.
Great station. Continuous jams.
All day.
Yeah. Back to back. And another radio guy from Chicago, we got to bring in Mr. Chris Bass. What's up, Chris?
Oh, hearty Boomshockalaka to my colleagues right there. Man, how's everybody doing? It's great to see you.
Bass, how low can you go? Death Row.
What a brother know. Right. You got it. Exactly. Right. No, it's always a great time to be among broadcasting people because we have our own language. And like, you know, you talk about your days at WBLS. I never worked there. I worked at a station like W Bullshit. So I never worked
WBLS. WBSH.
Right, exactly right. Giving you the good shit. WBLS. That's all right.
Well, that's different.
Always beautiful to be amongst everybody.
But he's well known in Chicago on stations like WVON, and he was also one of the producers at WLS, which is, I'm sure, a favorite for all of us. I grew up on LS.
Mm-hmm.
Big station.
And another
host. So WLS for me was like, you know, almost like, you know, just a pinnacle, like any other great radio station.
Oh, no
sure
question.
It was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure it was.
Totally. Coast to coast as well. Yeah, I mean, just you could hear it just about it. In fact, I've been driving through the mountains in California and pick up LS about a month ago.
Get out of here.
Yeah. No, serious. Every now and then you can get it. Absolutely.
Now,
As long as you're in the higher altitude.
Was Julian Davis there when you were there, Chris?
No, I got there in the second, third year. They crossed over to talk format.
Okay.
So that's when I got there. So I started as a producer, board op, and then became a talk show host at a radio station.
Excellent.
Hey, talk is hard. I don't care what anybody says, and most people don't know until you've done talk radio. Talk radio is hard. It's just you and the microphone, and you've got to be prepared. You've got to have stacks of stuff to talk about. Oh,
no question.
Music radio is one thing, but talk, that ain't no bullshit. I'm telling you.
It isn't. It isn't. You got to have your homework in place, your show prep, and chronologically lay out the content that you're going to discuss, and know what the hell you're talking about. Because if your audience
know not to hold on to a topic too long. If a topic's dead, go on.
Let it go.
Move on.
Bust a move. So Dr. Ron is also a Chicago native. He is also world renowned in many aspects, from truck stops to nightclubs to whorehouses and universities and other.
Man, you got to make them buy the book, man. You can't give them all the little cliff notes right now.
And clinics.
Roll up your sleeve, Dr. Ron. Show how many shots you had.
Oh man, but I did not get a scar from all those shots I got. Okay,
that's right.
You know,
No,
he's Teflon Ron.
The scar was small, the hair on.
look, let me just say this. I feel honored that you guys got a weekend pass from the senior citizens home early to come hang out with us, because you guys know y'all are old legends in the business.
They are, aren't they? They sure are.
Man, these guys have been around so many places that, damn, your name is on everybody's bathroom wall, ain't it?
Yeah,
that's true. When you start missing AM radio, you know you've gotten old. You know, because that's what I grew up on.
Because that's still, we need Reggie now, because he's an expert on old radio shit. Okay?
What's that?
You know, Reggie Miles.
What's AM?
He's an expert on it, man. He's still trying to get one.
See, Buck's trying to stay wild and young.
Wild, man. I'm gonna tell you something. I grew up on it. I used to sit in the car. Lee knows this story. I used to sit in the car and put the key in and put it on. What do they call it? Accessory or whatever it is, and run my mother's battery down so she get ready to go to work the next morning. Battery
can't go.
Dead.
That's right.
Battery is dead. Listening to WLS in Chicago. I mean CKLW. I mean it was, the list went on. It was crazy. It was crazy.
I'm from California, and in the Bay Area, we would struggle to try to pick up KDAY out of Los Angeles.
Yep.
And so they were in LA, and they kind of stuck out a little farther off the coast. So their signal would go up the coast and kind of hit the Bay Area at a certain angle, a certain time of day.
That's true.
Man, K-Day was, and it was the first rap station. Let me tell you, I used to listen to when we used to go down there every summer. I used to listen to Russ Parr when he was on K-Day.
Wow.
And Russ Parr used to use the N-word as freely as you niggas do today. On the air. It was like,
now see, that was the second generation of K-Day. What you're talking about, when Russ Parr was doing mornings and all of that. See, I was a part of that first generation.
What was the first generation? I don't understand.
Before it went hip hop, back in the 70s.
Oh, I thought it was. Damn. See, I never knew it before it went hip hop. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Maddox was, I think, the second program director. He hired me twice, and I worked there at the station twice. When it was basically R&B, very top 40-ish presentation.
Funny you said that, because I just saw a thing from Greg Mack. I forgot, it was saw it on Facebook, and Greg was talking about when he first came from Houston to LA. He was like, K-Day's numbers were in the toilet. They were trying to decide what to do with it. And he went into whoever it was, the GM at the time, say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should embrace this hip hop thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of, jumping off of the ground, and he was music director. So they took a chance to start playing it all day long. And let me tell you, what's so funny is I didn't know until I left the West Coast and went back east that radio stations didn't play hip hop all day long because in the Bay Area, I grew up on KSOL and KDIA. Mostly KSOL played hip hop all day long.
Right.
And I didn't know, as a matter of fact, when I got to BLS, Mike had a rap category. Now I was on at night, so I got to play 2 whopping rap songs an hour. It's like, wow. And to me, I was like, why are we playing anything else?
Yeah.
I was young. I was in my 20s. Mike was like, no, 2 rap songs an hour. And that's more than our competition Kiss was playing. They only played 1 an hour.
As a matter of fact, they got dinged in the head by Chuck D. He did a record called A Consultant talking about Tony Gray because they didn't play hip hop until at night. And
1 an hour. That was it. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, you see, that's funny because the era that you're talking about, FM had not embraced hip hop to that degree. And ironically, I mean, oddly, when you think of hip hop, you think of New York probably first. But it's not like hip hop blew up overnight there. But when it did, it did. And it grew just like everywhere else. Right. Whether it was hip hop and or quote house music or disco, New York kind of owned all of that to a certain degree.
I hated house. No offense, Chicagoans. I hated house.
You just got shot in the head, man.
It looks like it sounded like disco to me. I was like, disco's back in the 70s. Leave that shit where it belongs.
Hey, I used to piss the house DJs off by calling it hip hop.
Oh yeah,
I was like, rap. I
get beat up behind that.
They say, hey man, ain't you one of them rap DJs? He said, no, I do house. I said, no, man, I thought it was all the same, hip hop, rap.
And they were cocky about it too. The house DJs were cocky about it, like they were like sort of like how the EDM DJs are now. And they're making millions. These EDM DJs, these white boys are making like tons of money off this. I'm like, this ain't nothing but house and disco.
Reggie, you right on time, bro. They talking about your favorite subject, radio and AM. Oh man.
Oh my God.
Radio. Suckers never play me.
Oh my God. Again, I must we must give honor.
How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. We must give honor to Funkadelic. Cannot all this radio stuff, y'all. That's above my head.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Right.
I just came from my daughter's school, the open house night, and
oh wow,
she was playing volleyball, and she at this nice school, and I had to walk around that school, so I got attitude.
How old was she?
14.
Reggie said, "I'm feeling some kind of way right about now."
Man,
right.
I mean, and those athletes kind of remind me of the days when I was back in high school, and the coaches used to have us run up them stairs in the hallways at them old. I went to an old ancient school in Chicago called Tilden, that had like, if you get to the 3rd floor, it was like 2 staircases before you get from one floor to the next. And they used to always make us run to get in shape, for the season and stuff. And I felt like that when I was going to this school, Allen B. Shepherd. It was nice though. It was really nice, parents and interacting with the students, and they all appreciate the daughter and appreciate the parents coming out. So that was a good thing. But y'all talking about radio. It's a wonderful thing. I just, I asked my classes, not, one of the first papers I give them to, assign them to is to what are their feelings on radio. And 100% out of all the students right now today, they say they don't listen to radio.
No, of course not. How old are they? If they ain't 40, they ain't listening to radio.
18, that's right. I mean, but why? What happened?
Oh, they got so many more options now. You know what's interesting? With the music that they like, radio stations still, at least in America, cannot play the swear words. And that puts them at a real serious disadvantage. Because who wants to hear every other word muted out? It sounds silly.
Well,
like, why play the damn thing in the first place if you're gonna mute out all the curse words?
You think it's that simple?
I don't, but
well, okay, not just that simple.
No,
Okay.
I don't. The ball was dropped. Once the radio shifted away. I mean, I listened to the radio not because of the radio, but because of the people that was on the radio.
Right.
Like to this day, I still remember my guys, man. I love Joe Cobb, Butterball, E. Rodney, Herbert Rogers, Richard Earl, Lee Michaels, Bobby OJ. If you ask kids today to name personalities, it's not gonna happen. And then our boy, who we loved, we hailed him. He was the first one to mess the game up.
Who was that?
Thomas Joyner.
How did Tom mess it up, man?
Man, he was like they put that SYND word on him, man. They said, man, you need to be syndicated. I need to put you in 100 markets, man. So
the white boys are already doing that.
Who?
The white boys were already doing that.
But I don't care about them. I wasn't gonna get a station. I wasn't gonna get a job at their station anyway. I mean, not unless I was RP. If I was Rick Party, I could do that.
But you know what I did, Reggie, though? One time I was talking to Tom. He came through Birmingham to do a Sky show, and we went out and did something in the community, and I went along. And I just wanted to ask him one question. Tom, what about all the jobs that you took from all these morning men? And you know what he said? Of course, he had gotten that question 1,000 times, so he was ready for it. He said, everybody's always asking me, what about the jobs that I took away? He said, what about the jobs I created? And you know what? And he had a point. I didn't want to hear it at the time, but he said, all these radio stations, a lot of them were built around my show and the touch all day long. So basically, I created jobs.
I mean, I'll go along with that, and I'll leave that.
It's kind of true.
I'll leave
Wait a minute. How did he create jobs?
Yeah,
because these urban ACs didn't exist before he came along. You see what I'm saying?
Well, okay, but it didn't really create jobs, because if Tom was on 120 radio stations, there's 119 morning show jocks that no longer existed. Now, some of them went to other day parts, but you got the domino effect. So let's say the guy in Mobile, Alabama was doing mornings. They moved him to afternoons. Well, where did the afternoon person go? It's a domino effect.
But that's if it was on a station that already existed. What he was saying was that a lot of these stations, like say, take Mobile, for example, Lee. We're talking about Mobile. Well, Mobile just had WBLX, and that was it. And when Tom came along, they bought WDLT, put him on in the morning, and the touch on, like a lot of those stations did, the touch on all day long, and all of a sudden a new station was born, and they'd have one PD for both stations. And then I guess eventually when they got rid of the touch, there were at least one or two more jobs.
Okay, I got to do
that's what he was saying.
I got to say this. I'm glad everybody is going to do the justification with Tom, but let's look at the bottom line. There's only two people that benefit in a syndicated relationship: the syndicator and the syndicatee.
Yeah,
that's all. And so next thing you know, they said you got the phone call. The phone call came in and said, well, black people, we can cookie cutter everything that they do. You understand? And next thing you know, we was hearing the V103 in Chicago, V103 in Atlanta, and they were sharing all the playlists. I recall going across the country, or at least down south, just so I can go through Nashville, Louisville, Chattanooga, and I was hearing different music in all those cities. But once the telecom came in and dereg, and next thing you know, the cookie cutter formats came in that all of us that's in radio, we pledged allegiance to. Next thing you know, we wonder why the kids don't wanna deal with it. Because everything is SAME.
Here's a question. Here's a question though. What about this? Lee, what do you think? If somebody's trying to be funny now, right? on the radio, because I was just talking to a friend of mine in LA about this just today. She said it would be really tough trying to be funny today because all these people just sit around and complain all day long. I mean, you'll be fired before you even crack the second joke. What do you think?
Well, is your friend a comedian?
No, she's just she's a professor at UCLA.
Okay.
Oh, what's the name?
Oh.
Libby Lewis. Libby Lewis. She's fine too.
Reggie. That's not an HBCU, so you know you're not excited. So stop.
No, but I listen. But I want to hear the game. You know, it doesn't matter to me just how long I hear the game of the academic. You know, I'm gonna look at the game of the academic. Doesn't matter. I just because the baddest person in telecom policy, you know, for me, I think his name in a minute. But I'll tell you, but he's a bad boy. I think his name in a minute will come to me. And we spoke together when we was at Howard. Mark Lloyd, that's the baddest boy. That's one of the baddest boys to talk about telecom policy and radio. Mark Lloyd, and he teaches out there. I think he teaches at UCLA. He's a bad boy. Mark Lloyd. He can tell you how the game was taken from us. You understand, where we were happy just to be players as opposed to being owners. You understand? He could tell us how the backroom deals went down from the Texas boys, from the Bush boys, and what's the boy's name? Tom Hicks. All them boys, how they set up, because they knew coming down the line that they was gonna pull up into leverage buyouts. I mean, that was happening 50 years ago.
Well, it was. And I tried numerous times to buy stations, and for a long list of reasons, it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly, it was very difficult to get finance.
That's right.
I was turned down by Bank of America. I found a station for $10 million. And they told me, you know, the deal looked good and all of that, and they would love to do a deal with me. But they said, go out and find a station or a group of stations for $100 million. I said, well, I don't want to start that big at this point. I want to what I can afford to put into it and get the rest of it financed. This is what I can do. And the guy said, well, let me explain something to you. The amount of work it requires us to do to put a $10 million deal is the same as a $100 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
But the upside for us on the 100 is what's inviting, not a $10 million deal. It's too small. And I sat back in my chair and went, what? It's too small.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. I tried to buy a bank. I could have bought a bank for $1 million in a small town. Again, I was turned down because it was too small.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of reasons why we are not owners, mainly because of
the finance.
Yeah, that's been the big pushback. And, you know, there was another time when I was buying a station in St. Louis, and I had a finance backer. We went to another guy had the deal, and he couldn't make it happen. His money was a little thin. So he asked me to partner with him. So I came into it. So after a couple of months of going back and forth with the seller and the various other parties involved, it was a bank repo.
Mm.
And CENTCOM, which probably most of you have heard of before, it's one of the first backers for Radio 1, was going to go in to deal with me. The station actually ended up going on the block for auction because the bank who took the station back thought they could get more at the auction than what we were offering them in a cash deal. As it turns out, when it went to auction, the people backing me backed out at a price tag of $1.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
The station sold, if I remember correctly, for 1.8. We were originally offering 2.1. So it sold for less at the auction than what we were offering and what they had agreed to do the deal on. But they said, hey, no, we're going to renege and we're going to put it up for auction because we think we can make more money.
Now,
So
now, do you think it was because of the color of your skin?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to go there, but go ahead.
Well, you look half white though.
That's because he got his ring light on. That's
what it is.
yeah,
he hella bright today.
Yeah.
And I took a shower today, so that
and a shave. Don't forget that part.
I shaved yesterday. I didn't shave today. I shaved yesterday.
Because last week, man, he looked like he had just got off that damn hobo train. I swear he did.
Yeah,
you know?
Yep. I was kind of looking like you around the chin.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, white and everything. You see, you trying to hide your white whiskers. I don't care.
No, I don't give a damn. Look at my head. It's half bald and half white. So
there you go.
I don't know who's winning.
Wait a minute. From the big, massive Silver's afro when I met you.
That's right.
Lee's afro was about this. Lee and Harry Lyles had the biggest afro.
Yeah, Harry used yeah.
I used to hide squirrels in my hair.
I think Harry did too.
I've seen some of those pics with Lee. Lee, how tall are you?
Right at 6.
You were 6'8" with the afro.
Lee's afro was heavier than his entire body.
Yeah, that's true. Because I only weighed about 89 pounds.
He was doing a live broadcast. He had a fro about this size. He looked like a broomstick with an afro. Seriously.
But
yeah, I was a skinny man.
And I'm giving him a compliment because he was skinny as hell.
I was still.
But
what happened?
But didn't everybody on this broadcast have a big fro back in the 70s? Come on now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, come on now. That was the thing back then.
Yeah. I was in 5th grade. I don't know.
Walking around with a cheese cutter combing your hair. There was a cheese cutter. Stop playing.
That's right. That's right. Pick it out.
I had a pick with the fist.
Fist on it.
Yeah.
Fist on it.
We used to call it the pick with power.
That's right. The power pick.
And I got the rake, and I got the one that was called the cheese cutter, but we changed it and called it to a rake.
The rake, yeah, the metal one.
And
that
then
used to hurt.
I also like the pick that was like like you could fold it, we put it back in your pocket. So you had
the handles broke down.
Yeah.
It was like a
the red and green handles.
With the red and green handles. That's right. That's right. You break it down. That's you going all the way back now.
I'm telling you, that was the pick switch handle. I'm telling you, switch blade. Bam. You put it right in your pocket.
Yeah. Now we just be lucky to rub our hand across our naked head.
Yeah, you know what? I just noticed that like almost everybody on his ball. Mike, I can't see your head. Is your ball too now? Or you still got a little something?
Yeah, I paint that in every day.
Spray paint.
Put mascara on the shit, right?
Hey man, Mike, you got to stay off them late night Ronco commercials, okay?
All right, man. I'm sorry.
See, I got a not a 4-head, I got a 5-head.
Wow. Yeah, and when I was getting
I got 5 on it.
And when I was getting into the 6-head, when my stuff was receding, that's when I went on and go ahead on and put the razor on there and cut everything.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, just to kind of circle back around when you in defense of what Tom has said, which was actually correct, because I was a network guy. I was a senior VP of programming and distribution for Urban at the ABC Radio Network. And a lot of stations, as Lee said, were developed from the touch and from the formatics of taking a major morning person to put on and then surround it. Now, a lot of stations would get away from the touch. They would put it on to start, and then one show at a time, they would start adding people. So people, see, the Telecom Act of 96 was the worst thing that ever happened for African Americans in radio because it took local ownership to Wall Street. And then we were no longer players. That's why you don't see a lot of us out here. So we've gone through 30 years of not even having a chance of playing. And thank God that Kathy and her son was able to squeeze in, and with the help of Lee and several others who came in and guided that whole project of building.
Man, them Texas boys wasn't going to turn that big leg woman down. You need to stop.
Well, but you know what? They needed it.
They was going to give her anything she wanted.
But you know, but Professor Reggie, you know why? Because they needed it.
It was fine. Oh yeah, I mean that meant the quota, the EEO quota. They got 2 for the price of 1, black and female.
Well, that's true, but it wasn't about the quota.
3 with the big legs, right?
Oh yeah.
If you saw the list of how many people families became millionaires from the consolidators coming in buying their radio stations, because most of these people, let's say 60 to 70% of the owners before consolidation came in, they pretty much owned the radio station. They weren't in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all of a sudden, here comes, the big Clear Channel station gives the owner $2 or $3 million for his radio station. They're out. They were out of there.
Well,
and so it was
Barry Mayo did that in Chicago.
Everybody did it.
Soon as he did, he jumped. And then I wonder what happened to the 10 or 12 that Reagan Henry had on the East Coast.
Same thing. Got bought out, man. They made so many. If you saw the list of people who became millionaires after consolidation, owners, it's incredible. And you look at it and you just shake your head. But it was a Wall Street breakdown that came into place. Now Wall Street today is saying that they're not lending radio companies money anymore. They're out of it. They're done.
Because a lot of them got burned on some of those deals because they never happened. Yeah. So it's a bad investment. The only way that you can get some investment now is from foreign investors.
Yeah, leverage buyouts.
That's tough.
The buyout of America, I think it's the guy's name is Josh Kosman, who wrote that book called The Buyout of America.
Wow.
Check it out, because that was he chronicles Our Money's deal. You know who Our Money is, right?
No, tell.
Mitt Romney. Our Money.
Okay, of course, Bain Capital.
Our Money.
Yeah,
Capital, right.
Right. Because private equity investments, they just come in to they come in to just destroy the industry, period.
For people who don't know, Bain Capital is like the major investor in iHeartMedia.
Oh, they was.
Oh, they're not. They're not invested in iHeartMedia.
No, they got out when with the bankruptcy and stuff.
They got wiped out.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got flushed.
Yeah, our money had them like in 2008. He had them in 2008. I think that's when he jumped in there. 2007, 2008. That's when he came to prominence. And then next thing you know, when private equity came into play, folks was getting fired. They were getting laid off before Thanksgiving or around Christmas time. And then there was another set of layoffs. It was like they were cleaning house and they were setting up for this bankruptcy. And here's the thing that really here's the thing that really gets it. Okay. Years before, right, they had the distress sale policy and all that stuff now, right? You can go through all this financial stuff and they still keep their damn stations. They can't lose them.
Well, the thing of it is because the debt is not attached to you personally.
All right.
See, that's what the problem is. When you get the Wall Street money, the debt is not attached to you. I've had several businesses that have gone under, and I'm still paying for the cost on my credit report. Okay. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen to them. If any of these big radio companies, consolidators go out of business, the owner is clear.
Man, that's why the Dickey boys can sink their ship and then come back with another company running game again.
Well, it's all about the corporate, shield, if you will. These are corporations, not personal debt or investments. Some of the Dickey boys, they put some of their own money into starting up the company and investing to get it going, but then they use private money and money from the stock market. So when they can rush it and flush it at will.
Man, right. Well, how come we not smart enough to do no stuff like that?
It's all timing. The timing wasn't right for us because we didn't see it that way. We were still in a mindset of individuality, where we just wanted, like Lee said, I just want one radio station.
Yeah.
I mean, they were thinking monopolizing the world. like they do everything else, wink, wink, that they try to do.
I got you. So they just let one sister have the little 58 she got, right? 48, 58, or 68 stations she got.
Well, no. Okay. So Professor, here's the deal. When you go in and you buy these stations, the FCC has a rule of duplication. So you can't over duplicate by 35%.
Right.
Once you go in, let's say the consolidator goes, and I'm trying not to really use their names because I don't want to be hit with a lawsuit because I said something that wasn't correct. So the consolidator comes in, he buys 5 radio stations in the market. The first thing that happens when you get ready to buy a radio station, if I was going to buy a station from Lee, the first thing I'm asking him for is what we call the due diligence, which tells me the expenses, how much he spends, how much he makes, the whole 9 yards. Well, just like anything else, those documents are doctored. Okay. And so,
no, come on.
Yeah. So what happened, once again, the Texas boys were smarter than that. They said, you know what? We're not even going to worry about it. Here's $5 million. Here's $10 million. Here's $1 million. Give me the radio station. We'll figure it out later. Now, once they hit the level so what happens is they go in and they can actually see the books. So when they bought 5 stations in that market that they thought was making money, 3 of them were making money, the other 2 weren't, they had to sell it. That's what created Mama and His Son.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't the fact that they were doing them a favor. It was like the guy that was in Dayton that had the company that they ended up buying out. All of those companies.
Blue Chip you talking about?
I'm sorry.
Was it Blue Chip you're talking about?
Yeah, Blue Chip. So once again, these companies were all set up based on the fact that if they didn't help these companies start, then they didn't have anywhere to ship these stations off that they didn't want because they were going to get dinged for the duplication rule in the market.
So all of a sudden, then they had this distress sale policy and the tax certificate policy that what's the boy name? What was that Newton them? They cut out and took us out the game with. So how come all of a sudden we couldn't hoop and holler about that? They never should have changed that. If you talk what you're saying is right. That was the perfect. Go ahead, talk to me, Lee. That was the perfect setup in the stage for the distress sale policy.
No, you're absolutely correct. But see, the thing of it is, we never have anyone fighting for us.
Oh, now you know, the person that sold that out was Bobby Rush. Now I ain't gonna say nothing else. Go ahead now.
I get it, but that's what happens. See, when you start looking at the tax certificate rules, now you're getting into politics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who's fighting for us? Politically for these rules. When these rules get changed, we don't have anyone at the table that's fighting for us.
Curtis Collins was doing that, and I think that was Rule 256 or something like that. But Mark Lloyd, he shared that with me. I got to get that. He wrote Communications Farce. I got the book. And I done got old now, so things, if I don't look directly in my library, it won't come back as fast to me. But it was Bobby Rush and Curtis Collins was really setting the ownership platform out for her. So we got to look at that sister because she was down, because there was a lot of people on the hill or back there that was really fighting and advocating for us to have this ownership because them boys, they done went crazy. They got everything.
But you know what? But by the time the tax certificate came and went, it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the tax certificate, it wouldn't have mattered because again, it's all about who's going to finance you.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, the other part of the tax certificate, it didn't just say it was for Black folks. It was for Blacks. It was for women and disenfranchised people.
And that's why they cut it out in them, because Newton found out that some of their boys was making extra cheese off of it.
There you go.
And they got mad. Yeah, they got mad.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So if it had been if the tax certificate was just for minorities, then that would have been something that we could have did a deal on. but it covered women. It covered people who were disenfranchised. It had a list of them.
But see, that's true. But right about that time, the bidding war started. So the tax certificate to the seller really didn't have that much value because the station value went from $10 million to $20 million to $30 million to $50 million. It just went through the roof. So to hell with a tax certificate, to the seller, he said, I can make $30 million on this radio station. Okay, I'll give you an example. In Philadelphia, WDAS.
Yes, I knew it. Go ahead.
WDAS, I had the opportunity to I did. I presented that deal to Alfred Liggins at Radio 1 for $25 million.
This is a good story.
This is a true story. Okay. And Alfred said, no, I'd rather buy the rim shot, the Class A station that doesn't cover the market. If I remember correctly, $19 million. So he passed on the deal. Kearney L. Anderson was the general manager. I was working for Alfred and Radio 1 at that point, Kathy Hughes, and I brought the deal to them.
And what was the price difference again?
$19 million for the Class A, $25 million for the full coverage.
So $6 million.
Yes. So he passed on the deal. Somebody else bought it for a short period. Beasley. And Beasley sold it
for $100 million.
Over $100 million.
106 million.
Like that. $106 million. In a short period of time. So the guy that owned the station originally was a black guy, and he wanted to sell it to another minority. That's why Kearney called me to take it to Radio 1. Radio 1 passed on it. So just think about that deal. $25 million, $106 million, and then I think it flipped again. Okay? So, but
let me jump in again.
Please give us some light on this. Mike, please explain how that seemingly stupid decision could have been made justified.
It costs 50% more to run a 100 or 50,000 watt station than it does a Class A.
You mean electricity?
Transmitters, electricity, towers, whatever the case may be. It was an easier play to buy the Class A with less top expense.
But it was an adult station that was established and had revenue coming in already. I don't get it.
But it's not about programming for them.
I think
revenue. Isn't it about revenue?
Yes, it is. It is. Bottom line is
the thing of it is, what do you have to put into the radio station to get it up to speed? Going back to what I told you about the due diligence. See, the due diligence is going to tell you the expenses to run it, everything. So once you look into it, it looks great. It's a 50,000 watt full coverage radio station, but
making money.
It may need a new transmitter. Okay. It may need a new tower. So now when you go out and you buy that radio station, you're bringing in other expenses that's going to eat up your money.
I don't know if it was that. I think it was more, and I'm just flashing back. I think it was a deal. The reason they passed on it was because it's all about your ability to get it financed. So who are your backers? How much skin are they willing to put in the game? So
I thought you were gonna say niggas being cheap. I was like, I mean, seriously. What is that on you about to say? I was like, okay,
no.
Tell it like it is.
It's like when you go to buy a car. The car that you want is, let's say, a Mercedes at $89,000, but you really can't get the financing to get it in your garage. So you end up buying something for $45,000 because that's what you can get financed. I think that's what happened.
But I would look at it this way. Are you gonna, if you have to drive 40 miles each way to work every day, are you going to go out and buy a Cadillac XTS, or are you going to go buy a Mitsubishi, which is only a 4-cylinder, and you can put unleaded regular gas in it?
Well, if the job was paying me
That's a part of it.
$150,000 a year, I'd probably buy the XTS.
Yeah, but see the thing, once again, the due diligence tells you all of that. And that's why it was so important. And the Mays family wasn't going to be jacking around trying to figure out or get gypped because somebody says, oh yeah, this station, oh, we're cranking out 50 million a year. Well, let's say right at that time, big stations like the ones here in Dallas who were owned by somebody we all know on this call, that station was doing about 18 million a year 30 years ago. Okay.
Right.
That's why most of his staff was being paid $1 million. So you're always dodging the bullet of the expense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Do you know how much they actually made at their height when they were when they're making the most money? Take a guess.
You talking about the station here in Dallas?
The station there in Dallas.
Oh, I mean, I don't have any idea. When I looked at BIA, the station back then was cranking about 18 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of money for a radio station.
What year was that?
In Dallas.
In Dallas.
What year?
Oh, we talking about probably the 80s, the late 80s.
Well, late
80s going into the 90s.
Somebody told me that at one time, 104.5 was making 80 million a year.
I doubt it.
80.
Yeah, I haven't no. They weren't doing that. I'm telling you, when I looked at BIA, which has what all the stations make, stations that were making big money was around 18 to 25 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I think this was, it wasn't in the 80s though, it was later than that.
Yeah.
Even later than that. I find
he
that
just told me
believe.
at their height, the most they were ever making at one particular time was 80 million or close to 80 million.
I'd have to see it on paper to believe it.
Well, I was surprised.
Can I ask a question? Since we're talking about money, this is a perfect segue into a subject that I would like this distinguished panel to discuss.
That means money. Shut the fuck up about radio and talk about something else.
Hey man, look, I seen Buck Wild a couple of times. They're like over my head.
Way over my head.
But check this out. I ran across this on social media, and the question came up: should a man be reimbursed for child support after many years later finding out that the child isn't really his?
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, run it down.
Reimbursed by who?
Reimbursed by.
I don't give a damn where the money come from.
But like, do you think the woman can afford it? I mean, if she can afford it, I guess maybe so. But if she's getting child support, the likelihood of her being able to afford it is probably slim to none. That's just what I'm thinking. I could be wrong.
I can't speak on that because I haven't had any situation. I've never paid child support before.
Me either. I've never had kids.
But hypothetically speaking, if you had been paying out money for 20 years, okay, maybe 25, and then the DNA test comes up and says you are not the father.
Man, I want my money.
Amen. A freaking man. I don't give a damn where it come from.
Especially at this stage in the game, because then that means I could go get me a young tenderoni.
That might not be the smart thing to do.
How much
you could definitely go get you a Cadillac XTS.
How much she gonna cost you?
It don't matter. She can have all that because it's already gone anyway.
Hey, does anybody remember a couple years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, where the man in Detroit had a paternity test? Turns out he was not the father, and yet the judge made him continue paying child support. Remember, that was some bullshit.
Right.
Well, you got to think about the responsibility. If he's married and he's head of household, that carries responsibility.
He got to pay. Yep.
He got to pay.
That's what the law says anyway.
Yeah. I don't know if they were married, but I just do remember that. And they showed him in court going, oh, man, come on.
If they were married and he's head of household, he's responsible. Because that would be like you adopting a kid and saying you ain't responsible because you adopted.
No, but wait a minute. If he's paying child support, then they couldn't have been married because he wouldn't have been paying child support to the kid he was raising in that house. So no, he wouldn't marry her.
Well, but the child support is based on history.
Yeah.
Okay. It's based on the history. It's based on the
Yeah.
time that this child becomes self-sufficient, a man.
So in other words, he was stupid enough to pay it in the first place and not get a paternity test early on. So he got to go ahead to keep on suffering.
Bingo.
And you know, after
That's
many, it is, but after many years of you thinking you're the father and you've built this relationship with that child, emotionally,
there you go.
You know, how do you cut ties and say, well, you know, you're really not my child, and this your mama is a bold-faced liar.
You're like, bye, bitch.
I'm a moonwalk away from this whole thing. That's kind of tough.
Yeah, the courts are not gonna. They're saying that you're head of household. You set the establishment of this household, and so now all of a sudden, for whatever reason, if it's infidelity, whatever the case may be, you are partially responsible until this child can take care of itself for the child.
Let's go to Maury. Take me to Maury. Take me
Professor,
to
you
Maury.
are not the daddy.
Right. Take me to Maury.
Well,
That's where I
somebody had to
go
do the
right
test.
away.
Yeah, somebody did the test to find out that they wasn't the daddy. So what made him have that suspicion? You know, like,
Well,
man, he don't do
But he was
nothing I like.
raising a family.
But you know, but you're right. I have to go back with what Professor said. You know, there was an old gospel song that came out years ago. Take me to the king.
Yeah.
Changed it. Take me to the Maury.
Yeah.
He's the king.
That's right.
You are not the father.
You know what? I always hated Maury too. I'm like, this is the most ghetto show I've ever seen in my life. Come on.
Well,
And
look
the
at
fact
his
that they
bank
had
account and see
actors
how
on
ghetto
there.
it is.
Huh?
Look at his bank account and see how ghetto it is.
Woo. But I mean,
Yeah.
they had actors on there most of the time. Listen, I did a lot of bits with actors. I know they can be entertaining, but I mean, come on. How
But
bad
the
is that?
actors, hold on, Buck. It's the audience that's watching the show that's making him filthy rich, not the
Right.
actors.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh,
So somebody must have liked it. I get that. I get that.
Somebody.
It was.
Wait a minute. It was wiping out Oprah and everybody else in the talk show business. It came in and killed the game.
Man.
Look,
And
if-
you
if
know
you're-
the advertisers love that.
They loved it.
Look,
You
if
got
you're telling
20
me-
million folks
if you're-
sitting down watching to wait to see somebody say, you are not,
Not the father.
yeah, or you
Waiting
are.
to see it. Won't leave. Won't even go get a job. I'm
just-
sitting home watching this show every damn day.
It just made us look. It just made us look so bad, and poor white trash. Made them look
Oh
bad.
yeah.
I think people tuned in to see the fights and the wig pulling.
Well, that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah,
the lady
right.
runs, then she runs backstage and she's crying, and the whole 9 yards, and the cameras are following her. Oh, it's
Oh, I love that. I love that on the couch, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I was
And I
waiting
love
for
because
that.
Maury's smooth with it. Maury's smooth now. Now, whore. Now we can find out who is the father of your 15 goddamn children. And he's very smooth with it. So I was reading an article years ago about Connie Chung, and it asked me, aren't you embarrassed of your husband, Maury Povich, of everything? I imagine the following. See, you can imagine them at home. Maury, I'm tired. You do all this, you know, there's this show and everything else. But baby, here's the check. Oh, okay. Okay, keep on doing that.
You want to keep on doing the show. You're not to come home without a job.
Thank you.
That was
Right.
very racist, Mike. That was racist. Shame on you.
So the general consensus of the panel is everybody want their money back, huh? Is that what I'm hearing here?
Well,
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I
No,
would definitely want-
no.
I would
I
definitely want
don't.
an attempt for some kind of relief
Uh-huh.
of some sort. Okay, if I'm not, if you trick me, where's the trick clause?
Yeah, I mean,
Lifetime of BJ's.
I think that the wife, girlfriend, whatever she is, ought to have some liability in that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
A lie is a lie.
A lie is a lie. That's it.
Right.
Period.
Well, hey, she might not have known.
Well, come on.
Well, that's possible.
Sometimes they got a
possible.
lot of stuff, various theming up in there.
Some cats like to be played like a Stradivarius. I personally don't.
Amen.
Where did that come from? Who made that up?
Some cats like to get played because they
bro, come on. Professor, come on.
Players like to play.
I done seen it with mine own eyes.
Oh. So your poor eyes.
Yeah,
so you need to get them checked.
I've seen the cat sign. I've seen the cat sign up for duty and go head on and salute to the captain, knowing that them ain't his kids.
So that
the song says, "What a fool believes."
Yes, the doobies. Yeah. You know, Lee, I'm gonna have to. You came across and got in my lane. I'm mad now. I'm mad now. Look, you're quoting the song.
Don't piss the professor off, please.
Look. So this leads to the next question. Would you want to know? Man, y'all got quiet.
That's a good one.
No. I don't want to know. Let me go out. If I've been a fool, don't tell me.
Yeah, there's certain things you can't unknow.
Yeah, if I've been a fool, don't tell me. Let me go on living being a fool.
Miss Louise down the block, she'd know that it ain't your child, and she's been telling all your friends, that ain't his child. You know that, right?
I saw Mr. Davis going over there every other day for lunch. He go over there and she talking about her lights ain't working, and he coming over there screwing in light bulbs, and that wasn't the only thing he was screwing in.
As a matter of fact, if you take a look at Mr. Davis and take a look at that boy, they got the same buck tooth. They got the same walk.
Hey, Chris. Mary J. Blige said it best with your child, holding a baby with eyes like yours.
Billie Jean, not my. Billie Jean, not mine.
But see, some cats lose it when they find out some stuff like that. So keep me in the dark.
You know why they lose it most of the time? Because they're trying to figure out who it was, and hopefully it wasn't his best friend or somebody he knew.
Or his daddy.
Or his daddy.
Y'all get nasty now.
But you know what though? Hey, speaking of that, I just had a conversation the other day. We were talking about mothers and the kind of Mother's Day bits that you did, back in the day. And I was like, well, one year I had, I always like to do stuff different, right? So instead of having, call up and shout out your mom or just talking about something feel good, I said, call up with your mother's horror stories. We want to hear about the worst mom in the city. And do you know how many people called, how many women called up and said, my mom slept with my man? I mean, it happened all morning long. That's not all, but yeah.
I'm sorry, but did you say mother horror, like WHORE stories or
HORROR?
Horror.
Horror. Right. Okay, I thought it was okay. Right.
It did sound like you said horror story.
Mother horror.
Same thing.
I'll listen to that.
Yeah, I mean, if it had a W in front of it, I think we'd all listen to it.
But that's what it ended up turning out to be. That's what it turned out to be. I was shocked, and Mike knows how hard it is to shock me.
Yeah,
okay, man, we were all just like.
But it happens.
Yeah. It happens a lot. Yeah.
A lot. Not just in Kentucky,
Why are you picking on Kentucky?
Somebody on that block that know
all West Virginia.
And then
South Carolina.
Hey, I've had quite a few artists that would tell me about their adventures on the road and say that they slept with the mother and the daughter.
Man,
I can believe that.
It was not a big listen, and you mentioned one of them's name earlier, Mike.
Okay. Well, on to the next. Dr. Ron, what was your next question?
Hey, man, I think that was a good one. We ain't got to go nowhere. So unanimously, nobody wants to know the truth if you are the father or not the father. You've been paying this money for 25 years, looking at this baby that don't look like nobody but your uncle, and you still paying money and still showing them love and you're gonna keep on going. That's what we got here.
Yeah, I mean,
like I said,
yeah, I've seen guys in that situation. They say, "Well, look, I've been with this kid for 12 years, and that's my child."
Right.
Period.
And that's how the court looks at it. The court says, even if it isn't your child, if you are head of household, i.e., married, then there's a responsibility that goes along with taking care of children, whether they're yours or not.
But
even after divorce?
Even after divorce.
But what if there's no marriage, though? That's the question. What if?
Well, that's the whole different point.
Right. So the kid is living with the mama, and you got your own family on this side, and come to find out that she lied about her kid, and you've been paying child support to this other child outside your family that you got over here. Then what? Is that the same? Is the same thing or not?
Well, see,
it's always going to be based on head of household.
Well,
what if you're head of two households?
Well, the courts have a remedy for that. Most of the time, when a woman accuses a man of being the father and trying to secure child support, the defense for the father is he has to come in and have a DNA test to establish paternity. Correct. Now, once the court has established paternity, then he's locked in. There are no longer any question. He's got to pay whatever the court has said, whether they are married or whatever the situation may be, because the court has now superseded what was known or unknown about their civil arrangement.
See, the only thing wrong with that is that if it wasn't good stuff, then I would really be mad.
It might have been so long ago you forgot how good it was.
Oh, no.
No, you'll never forget that. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, if it was a bell ringer, man, if it was a bell ringer, but like, I would really be mad because I done told my boss, man, understand, and then all of a sudden it wasn't even. I'd be mad. I'd be mumbling,
You don't want to go into murder. Like, remember the scene from Harlem Nights, when Eddie Murphy comes to Richard Pryor's home in the middle of the night? Hey, man, I shot her. He was like, was it that bad, man? You don't want murder on your hands.
Yes.
But think about this for a second. How many people have you known that end up getting a woman pregnant and have to pay child support for how many ever years? And you look at him and go, and this is just me, maybe it's just me. It's like, why didn't you just pull out, nigga? Damn.
Oh, pulling out doesn't do the trick.
No, that doesn't always work.
You don't know about pulling out.
Well, but hold on. They would usually admit that they didn't pull out. So I'm like,
pulling out has nothing to do with it.
Nothing it has a lot to do with it, please.
It has nothing to do with it.
Yes, it does.
Sammy?
The chances of her getting pregnant and you pulled out, and mind you that you pulled out on time.
Buck, depending on where you at the entrance of this situation and you're leaking.
Semen is running, baby.
Yeah, that's 100 million motherfuckers running up there to say, I'm home.
I'm home.
Well,
you ain't gotta finish
knocking on the door.
Hey, listen, when I was
don't
in college,
ever say that in public again. Okay.
Hey.
Wait a minute.
I've had enough women come up and say, "Oh, I think I'm pregnant." Whereas I start thinking about the baby, I hear a baby crying before I ever get close. And I'm just like, okay.
Wait a minute. First of all, Buck Wild said he's not from the 70s, so he shouldn't even know anything about fucking Raw. Okay.
Well, that is now, Dr. Ron, I would christen you with the crown right now if I was in the house with you.
Hey.
We didn't know nothing. Wait a minute. CVS, Walgreens, none of them places had no aisle for Magnum.
All right.
As a matter of fact, the only place you could get a condom was at a truck stop.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
Because it wasn't on the shelf no damn way.
No, it wasn't on no damn shelf. And if it was,
or in a nightclub or bar.
Right.
Right.
In the men's room.
And you weren't going to get caught trying to go into the local drugstore, which everybody knew the pharmacist. Right. And somebody tell your mama that you was in there trying to buy a rubber.
Right.
We were embarrassed too. When I was coming up, we were embarrassed going there.
So you came up in a whole different era. We wasn't thinking about that.
No, man, we didn't know nothing about
We didn't know nothing about that.
Chris Rock, and I still love my wife.
Right.
Y'all are retarded, boy.
It's the truth.
I think I still love my wife, Chris Rock.
Right.
It's the truth.
So Buck, wow, you getting phone calls of people telling you that they're pregnant. You are not the father. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you right now.
Hey, it was. I had a few scares, but then turned out one of the ones she turned out she couldn't have kids anyway. So it was always a false alarm. She come to find out she was just late on her period, so it would be like she'd be 2 days late. Doc, I think I'm pregnant.
Oh man, that was like Players Rap 101. Your big brothers will come and tell you. All right, Bird. Let me tell you. Listen,
I didn't have no big brothers.
It's gonna happen like this. Or even some cats in the neighborhood. It's gonna happen like this. Right. You're gonna do this, and especially if you're about something. If you're about something, you're gonna get that call. Either that, or then when it comes to the dire straight, back in the 70s, it was I need $300 for this abortion.
And you gave it. And you gave it.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, coming up, I done missed my period, right?
Hey, Professor, you preaching right now.
That was coming out.
You preaching right. That was it right there.
I mean, you knew that. So because I would run out there. I said, man, she told me she wanted money for the abortion. The next thing you know, we running a file check on there, and it was like 4 or 5 of us that had been in there. How much you got on it? Did she call and tell you? Because she might be trying to get $1,200 from us.
Exactly.
She could be trying to get money up on it.
A running game.
But now y'all know.
But this is old school right here. They schooling you right now.
Apparently, and I never got this. I didn't have older brothers.
Oh,
but see, Buck, you got to stop doing like they did in that movie where you walk in and drop a deposit slip on the floor so the girl can look down and see how much money you got in somebody else's account and then want to be with you for the rest of the night. You got to stop doing that, bro. You got to stop leading with your bank account. Okay.
I know people used to do that. They used to go to the ATM and then have a big balance. If they had a big balance, that might have been bullshit.
Right.
But yeah, big balance. So you leave that right there. I'm like, no, I don't do that. I don't want them to know how much money I got. It was bad enough I had a nice car.
But now they want to know what your credit reference is, your score.
So in the 70s, right? If you had on any type of uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
If you had on any type of uniform, right?
You was getting paid.
Yeah,
I guess my school uniform didn't count
right away. And I had been told, it was 3 days later. I think I'm pregnant. I say, all right.
You got a job.
Yeah, that's all. As long as you had
history,
as long as you had a job, you were going to get to the promised land.
That's right.
It was no delay. Yep. It was no delay. Sometimes the game would be where they would want to act like they won, but they were just wanting to see how aggressive you was going to get to come and get it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Does
that include uniforms? Does that include cops too?
Police, police, bus drivers, post office people,
military,
anybody,
a mechanic in a jumpsuit.
Yeah. Anybody that has civil service benefits, union benefits, hospitalization.
It takes Sam Chapman to talk about that damn bus uniform.
Man,
let me tell you something. Boy, you just hit the nail on the head. The bus drivers, bus drivers used to kill the game.
Yes, sir.
What?
More than DJ. Bus drivers make DJs look like punks.
No,
Are you kidding?
No, look, no, serious. When I was taking the bus to high school, I forgot the brother's name, but you get on in the morning, you get a relationship with somebody, hey, young blood, how you doing? How's your test? I think I passed. Lady come by, hey, good morning, Alfred, whatever. I put the money thing. I hit that. Now, this became an ongoing thing. No matter, anytime I saw, say his name was Alfred, anytime I saw Alfred on the bus, it was guaranteed that lady won't pass. I hit that.
But it's true. They telling you truth. They telling you true story. The bus driver?
Yes.
The bus driver made the DJ look like a punk.
Yeah. Bus driver, mailman, fireman.
Look.
But what was the quality?
Somebody said the milk delivery man.
Don't be a plumber. A plumber?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, you see a lot of pornos like that.
Yeah.
What? But I want to say, what was the quality of the women like on the bus? That's the question. Is it about quality?
Wait a minute.
It made it easy.
Oh man. Yeah,
wait a minute.
Women didn't have cars like
that.
Wait
a minute. Yeah, but wait a minute. Now you go in the hood and there's a I want to cuss, but I ain't gonna do it. Nice. There's somebody. Oh, like here you go. Like Red Fox Delary said about sunshine. As a girl, there was always a sunshine in the hood. Girl, that when you see her, you just, oh my God, you do. And she lived in the projects.
That's right.
But she
may have had 2 or 3 babies.
Yeah.
But go back real quick to about answer Buck's question. But they range from high class women going downtown to work, downtown Chicago, to any type of hood ratness. It didn't matter as long as he hit it. And again, there were times we had to pull over, and had to wait for a exchange of bus. Hey, young blood, let me tell you how I hit that. And he would tell me what he did and how he did it. He became my hero.
Wait a minute. Let me put another spin on it. Buck, those guys were in a union. If you knew a bus driver in the neighborhood, he was driving a caddy.
Yes.
Oh wait a minute, Mike. Or either that, a Tornado, or a 225.
Come on, Delta 88.
Yes.
A what?
A deuce and a quarter. You ain't never heard of it?
You ain't never heard of a
Tornado. I never heard of a Tornado.
That was one of the first front wheel drive cars that was. That
he ain't never heard of a deuce and a
10 miles long.
No, I never heard of a Tornado.
Have you ever heard of a deuce and a quarter?
Yes.
Okay.
You never heard of an Oldsmobile Tornado? That was the first front wheel drive car. Oh my God.
How about a Fleetwood Brougham d'Elegance?
I heard of that.
Yes.
Right. Broham.
Broham.
I'm about to say, was it a Broham or a Brome?
Broham.
Either one.
I just recently saw a deuce and a quarter convertible. I got the picture of it. A pristine. This dude had put tears on my eyes. I was like, oh God, a deuce.
Now you know what was the Chrysler equivalent to that Broham, right? The Chrysler Imperial.
Yeah.
Imperial. Oh, yeah.
That thing had a whole living room couch in the back.
Listen.
Hold on. And the Tornado and the Riviera was the same car, just made by 2 different damn
versions of GM.
2 different brands.
Well,
I've heard of the Riviera.
Yeah.
I've heard of the Riviera.
Same thing.
Yeah, same car. Exactly.
Front wheel drive. Then it wasn't no hump in the floor. Wasn't no hump in the floor.
Right. Because everything was up front. Yep.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, wasn't no hump in the floor.
Yep, that's right. Sure didn't, because it was like everything was right there. And I tell you, now see, you'll never know this, but you can climb in the back of one of them cars, and man, women would drop their drawers so fast.
Oh God.
And they would have so much room to kick both legs on the front seat and the back seat and not be cramped up, brother.
That's right.
I don't know nothing about that.
Hold on. You're damn lie, Lee. You're damn lie.
I rolled out of St. Louis into Chicago in a Fleetwood.
It was
hey, Dr. Ron. The back seat in any
I had 3.
Wait a minute. the back seat in any GM luxury car may have been bigger than the couch that was at your damn house.
That's right. That's right.
Flat track Pontiac.
Don't talk about the kind of Pontiac now. My first car was a Catalina.
There you go.
I had that Catalina.
You missed out on a whole generation.
Catalina. But
you missed out on a whole generation, bro.
Which had a huge back seat. It was a 2-door Catalina.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna hit you again. The Catalina and the Monte Carlo was the same damn car.
That's right.
There wasn't the Grand Prix in that same group.
The Grand Prix was the Tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then you know, people would get smart. Man, that's a Grand Prix.
That's right. Right. A Prix. Okay.
It was Grand Prix.
I got a St. Louis story. And Mike Love, do you remember Hubler Pontiac?
Yes, sir.
They gave me a car for free.
Wow.
It was a Grand Prix, black on black and black. I sold 30 cars in a remote on a Saturday, and the owner of the company came in and said, "Go out there in the yard and pick out any car you want."
That's good stuff.
That's it.
And he says, "I want you every weekend right here to broadcast live from my and man, I sold so many damn cars for them, it was ridiculous." Wow. Look, he gave me a car.
Y'all see what R. Michael Douglas say?
What is that?
Old man talking.
Not me.
We just speaking the truth. That's all.
Yes,
sometimes social media talks about foolishness 90% of the time. But that's what's wrong, because the millennials and the X and Ys are creating stuff that is stuff we've already done. Right. But we did it totally differently because we didn't have an avenue for that to be released.
Hey, don't talk about the Generation X. That's me, baby.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Generation X is the shit. Okay.
But I have to say that coming up with uncles that provide the landscape, because, for example, all the cars you just mentioned were 70s cars. I came up late 70s, 80s. We wanted to be like our fathers and uncles.
That's right.
So we would get the cars that they, if they didn't hand down to us, we want to get cars just like them, because that was the car that you drove.
Oh, wait a minute now, come on now. You know, when we was kids and when we wasn't driving, we were sitting on the porch with our friends and we see somebody driving. First thing we say, "That's my car."
That's my car. It was a game.
Right.
Yeah,
we used to play that game.
Yeah, you know we playing "That's my car," man.
You get into an argument.
And then when you wanted to get somebody, when you make them mad or whatever, you would give them a station wagon or some shit. Or both.
Now I'm really getting ready to mess you up, Buck. You probably don't know anything about joyriding.
Joyriding?
Yeah.
Define joyriding.
25 cents a gallon.
Oh, absolutely.
And you used to be able to fill up and ride all over the city, scouting out women. And I don't care what.
Oh, everybody used to do that. Everybody still does that.
No, not no more.
Yes, they do, Grandpa. Yes, they do. Everybody does that. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Not the way we did it, because we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Twitter.
Okay. You know what? Good point, Mike Love. Good point.
Yeah, that's only you. I mean, that was the only way you made time to joyride
on the weekend.
Fun.
And if you had a partner, you got with him and y'all. Hey, we gonna. Hey.
Oh man, that's talking shit. Oops.
I ain't gonna come out.
But see, not only you got Facebook and all the other social media platforms to do your scouting and all of that. But not only that, I mean, you got gas approaching $5 a gallon now, so it's just not feasible to ride around, with a tank that
you, Mike Love. You made me cuss, man.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I did it for cuss. I'm sorry.
Well, you don't need no excuse.
Yeah.
No, he do not.
No.
Now y'all remember this. Now I'm finna move it up a little bit more. when the cellular communication came out with 3 minutes after 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock at night.
Oh, Sprint and
No,
weekend.
it was nights and weekends. And everybody will be sitting in the car next to each other, talking on the phone, trying to pretend with the women next door in the car that we got phones.
We got phones. That was status.
Oh no, I got one better than that. I got one. How about when cars began to have air conditioning?
Come on, man.
And cats would be riding around, the windows up. It's 90 degrees outside. They sweat like hell trying to be cool.
Right.
Want somebody to think that they have air, and they were suffering. The only thing was blowing, the fan that was blowing.
For
to get some air.
real,
For real. Yeah, cats used to do that.
Come on.
Because air conditioning was an option, man.
Hey,
That's
wait
right.
a minute.
What century was that?
It was an option in the 70s. That was an option.
But
That's right.
there were companies that made money by putting auxiliary air conditioners in your car.
Ah, that's
Come
right.
on.
that was an option.
I mean, it's standard in your generation, but that was
it's
an
standard
option.
in yours.
That was an option for us.
That's
Power
right.
steering was an option.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Really?
and wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. Let's bring it full circle.
FM.
That's right. Because the only radio you got in the car was AM.
Was
That's
AM.
right.
Okay,
Wait a
my
minute.
parents had a car, a 72 Mercury Montego, and it only had AM. So I know
Every
that's
car only had damn AM.
AM. Now,
Wait a minute.
Yep. And
You
then
know
if
how I
got
started listening to FM? When I put the 8-track in the car and got the FM converter.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Look,
And
then-
you
and then-
couldn't tell nobody that they wasn't a SHIT with an 8-track.
That's
Yeah.
right.
right.
And
You
they
went
used to
through
bling
it.
it out. Y'all remember
Yeah.
how they used to bling it out?
Oh,
with
and
with
then-
the Rolls Royce grill,
Yep.
and the padded roof,
Yeah.
with the London,
Hold on.
with the
Hold-
Diamond in the back, digging the scene with a gangster lean.
Mike,
And
you just
even-
said an FM converter in the 8-track.
Yes.
You
That's
stuck
right.
the
Yes.
FM converter into the 8-track.
That's
I've
right.
never heard that before in my life.
And
Right.
here's the only thing is that it kept running around, and it had to deal with that track thing that make it switch.
That squeaking
The
noise.
little aluminum foil.
Yeah.
The little aluminum foil.
Yeah.
Or you're listening to your favorite song, and it will fade out, and then it will
It
bump to the
clicked.
next track, and
It
then it
would
come back
click.
up.
It would click
Yeah.
on your song.
Yeah.
You'd be singing your song and it go click, click.
Yeah.
And go to track.
Oh, on the 8-track itself.
Yes,
Yeah.
on the 8-track
Yeah.
itself.
Oh, I thought you meant on the FM converter. I was
No,
like,
no. Wait a minute. Here's the downside of the FM converter. There was still only one speaker in the car, and
Right.
it was on the dash in the
I
front.
know. That's right.
Right.
my
That's right.
parents' car.
That's right.
Oh, but you know what though? My parents got another speaker in the back. It was still mono, but you could have a little more bass in the back.
Right.
That's right.
Well, that was the same company
Yeah,
that
6
sold
by
that
9.
speaker,
6
sold
by
the
9.
auxiliary air conditioners.
Yeah.
Phil
That's
Cole.
right.
JBL 6x9. Yes,
That's
sir.
And you saved up for that. You didn't have that. That
That's
wasn't
right.
pocket change.
Man,
That's
look.
right.
But you saved up for that.
You know what's so funny? Okay, I act like I'm not really up on AM, but my very first job was at an AM station in San Francisco, in Oakland, KDIA, and I remember, and I grew up listening to KDIA. So when I got there, I remember walking into the studio and hearing how good the speakers sounded in the studio.
Right.
And I asked, Jeff Harrison was the PD at the time. I said, why does it sound so good in here, but it sounds like shit in my car? And he said, because they're putting really bad AM quality radios in the cars now because everybody listens to FM. He said, but AM is not really supposed to sound bad. And then it made me think back to those old consoles that we used to have in the living room with the record player and the AM and FM and the 8-track. And the AM sounded just as good as the FM back then when I was a kid
was no
in
different.
the early 70s.
It was no difference. We didn't know stereo was a word.
Right.
Right, exactly.
High
right.
fidelity.
Right.
Yep.
Hi-fi.
Yeah.
High five.
Yeah.
You know, AM was so powerful Okay, AM.
Well, that's all we had.
The thought of it was really so powerful that WTOP sold their FM to Howard University for $1, which is WH.
That happened a lot. Yeah.
Okay, and they did what I think HUI is a 35,000 watt station. Is between 18 and 35,000 watts, but they never cared about AM because AM, and as Lee said earlier, that's amplitude modulation. When the sun goes down, there's nothing to stop the amplitude modulated waves from going across the country or going wherever they want to go, because when the sun is up, the ionosphere comes in there and it stops those waves from going further
to the moon.
Yeah. But then now
hits the ionosphere and then bounces down.
Yeah. So that's why I can go further. So that's why they wanted, or they put more credence on AM, but the FM has superior quality because FM travels on the ground.
Right, line of sight.
Yeah, it's travels on the ground. The only thing that was good, I said, FM was really cool because when you was driving with the AM on in your car, as soon as you get up under the viaduct, it was going off. you can hear nothing. You couldn't hear anything. But when FM came, you could hear everything all the way, all the time, because their waves were traveling on the ground.
But now here's another thing that you have to take into consideration. Most of the music, especially the stuff that was coming out of the Motown era,
was mono. That's right.
Was mono. The songs were mono.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They were processed and mixed to sound good on an AM radio station.
On a mono, that's right. Because they had that one, I think it was in my engineering thing, I think they were using Oralex, because Oralex were the first speakers that really made those really good sounding speakers, that one little cube, but it was a little Oralex cube that they mixed and mastered their music on with that. But Motown was definitely Motown.
Museum, the Motown Museum.
You say
I've never been to it.
I haven't either.
I did
USA.
You're right. I did a tour there one time, and what they explained to us on the tour was that the house, because it was just a house,
right?
And they had emptied out the rafters or where the attic space would be, and they would play the music and because effects were not created yet, digital effects or any of that.
That's where they made the reverb at.
Right. So they would send the music up into the attic and record it on the masters coming back off of being released to the attic.
Yeah.
So that's so that was, they were
that's
really
how they did. That engineer was the boy he was the boy that had them thick pop bottle glasses. He designed that stuff. I know that when I went to that museum and they told me that story, I started telling the story to the cat that was telling the story. I started studying. I knew the boy's name and everything.
Oh my God!
Because I remember when I first went to the museum. When I first went there, you have to go there if you love the Temptations.
Anybody from that era,
yeah. Oh man, I got that. I started crying. I put both my hands on the steps. I said, "Oh my God, this is where Eddie was."
Where is it? Where is
Detroit.
In Detroit. And so when I walked in there and they had that uniform and that I said, "Oh no, look at that! That's the one they did. The girls all right with me in,
Girls all right with me.
Right.
The girls all right.
Come on.
You know what, Buck Wild? Let me say this to you, Buck Wild. You don't know your history.
Not at all.
You better come back. We're gonna school you.
Yeah, you're gonna be all right if you come back.
That's right.
Old people love saying that. Oh, you don't know your history.
Hey, history will set you free.
It's the truth.
That's why they're trying to keep it away from people.
Wait a minute. Now, Buck, when were you born? What year were you born?
You want me to say this on the air?
Yeah.
Sure.
This is forever. The internet's forever, bro.
That's okay. I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll give you my birthday. That's no problem.
Give you mine. I was born at 57.
Wait a minute, y'all. He might be afraid because he act like R. Kelly. So wait a minute now.
Oh, that's what it is.
Okay.
Damn.
Mike knows how old I am because I was exactly 10 years younger than him.
Okay. So then you were born in 67.
Okay.
Man, I was 13, man, when you came.
I was 17.
Yeah.
I wasn't born yet. Yeah.
All
You're
right.
alive and you're going to hell.
Chris?
No, you've already
I know
been to
Chris and I are
hell.
about the same age.
Yeah.
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 I go along with that. I think, again, going back to history, I'm sitting here reminiscing of my time, for example, spending with my family. I mentioned with my uncles. They were just super cool, man. It just you wanted whether it's your father or your uncles. This is my uncles on my father's side. You know, they smoked, they drank, they cussed. To me, that was cool. I wanted to be like them. So first, I'm like 8 years old. The summertime, you know, it's hot like Negroes going to election in Georgia hot. It was like really, really hot. And so my uncle Sylvester was sitting next to me on the porch, and his lady walked past. She was like, "Oh, how you doing, Sylvester?" It was like, "How you doing, baby?" And then he keep on walking. And then he looked over at me and was like, "Red bone."
Red bone.
Now, I'm 8. I don't know what the hell is a red bone. Now, for those of you out there don't know what a red bone is, that is a light-skinned African-American woman who's lighter than. So that's what they call them, red bones. I was like, "Uncle, what's a red bone?" "I can't tell you right now. When we get older, I'll tell you all about the red bones." So stuff like that was, I put it like this. My uncle used to have 3 women that stayed in his apartment. I never asked them who they were. I always thought, okay, he must be doing some pimping. I never asked the man until I graduated from high school. I was 18 years old. I come out, my Uncle Sylvester, outside. I was, "Hey, how you doing?" Hey, listen, first of all, I'm going to talk about the red bones, but look, here's some money for you. Graduated, it's like $500 cash. I said, "Well, thank you." I appreciate this. Nice. And I was like, this is going to be great. Now, what I got in line for you was like, I got some ladies at the hotel. Here's the address, and here's the key. When you get finished graduating and be with your friends, I got 8 women that's going to be lined up for you. Going to break you half in 2. This is the red quote. Because he was going to set me up. So I say, "Okay, Uncle, I got you on the look." I would ask you, when back in the day when we had the 3 ladies at the house, 3 women, right? Were you pimping? What do you think I was doing? I think you were pimping. He said, "That's right, Negro, I was pimping."
Woo! There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. It's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up, Chris?
Chicago.
Chicago too.
Yeah. Well, every major city small towns had pimps.
Yeah.
Pimps were everywhere.
Yeah. Half my family's in Chicago. I know about Chicago.
Yeah.
Listen, one of the first craziest conversations I had with one of my elders. I'm out here playing, and I'm 13 and 14 years old. And this is graphic, but I'm gonna say it. They had asked me, and I was dumb, right? They say, "Well, hey, are you busting nuts?"
Whoa!
And so I went in the house and I got some nuts with a hammer.
Lee, did you hear this?
I went in the house, man. I say, "Oh yeah, I know how to do this." I got the walnut. The one that's not the walnut, the one that's hard to use. What they call it? I forgot what it was, but I went. I got the sludge hammer, the wrench, and I was tearing it up. I said, "I see," and they was cracking up.
Lee, that's your boy. That's your boy.
That's when
that's Dr. Ron's boy.
That was.
Yeah, that's my boy. I'll own him.
Hold on. So I got one for you. So there was a guy in the neighborhood that everybody thought, he was the guy. Every neighborhood there was a kid that he may do your mama. He had it that way. You know what I'm saying? So we all wanted to be like him. And so we were riding our bikes one day and we came up to him and we said, "Hey, so-and-so, what you doing?" And he said, "I just got done busting my nuts and so-and-so, so-and-so." Now, the crazy part about that, and this is not to be disrespectful for anybody that's watching this or anything like that.
Right.
When he said that, we thought he said Brazilian nuts. When he said that, we knew that what he was talking about, but we were trying to figure out how he put his testicles up in her. We didn't know he meant the skin. See how it went over our head?
You were thinking too hard.
How did he get? How did he get that thing? How did he get that up in there?
Yeah. You know, and brothers act like they all worldly, but you ain't all worldly.
No,
you don't know. There's a lot of stuff you don't know, and you have to get schooled, man. And so
that's true.
That rite of passage is like, I wouldn't trade that and some of the conversations that I had with my older brothers and my cousins, because I'm gonna tell you, I did not know. I really did not know, because I'm trying to go to school and do other things, and I just did not know. But then when I got to the age where I'm discovering all this stuff, then my brother, come here, boy. Let me tell you something.
Right,
and so the next thing you know, or it was either that or I was going down to the barber shop.
Yeah, the barbershop was good.
Oh my God, the barbershop was barbershop was business.
Now, see, y'all talk about rite of passage. See, my dad did me dirty. Okay, let me just tell y'all the story of how dirty he was. You know, back in 19
Go down, dirty daddy.
So back in 70 something, they was having a truck strike. You know, the Teamsters had shut down all the trucks all across the country. So he threw me in the truck and we drove to California. Now I'm out there, you know, visiting with my grandmother, you know, thinking that, you know, all is well with the world. Then he said, boy, you're going to be a man tonight. And I said, okay. So we get in the car and we go down on this little place called Sunset Strip.
Hey.
So we get down on Sunset Strip and I'm like, okay, what happens now? So this hooker comes walking past like most hookers do. And he said, hey, I want you to take my boy down there to this hotel and take care of him. So I'm like, oh yeah? Okay, this finna happen. So she took me down to the hotel and we get down there, we get busy. So I'm like, I come back, my old man was still hanging out on the strip and he had got busy with somebody else that had came along in the back of the car.
Now we are talking about a prostitute here, right?
Yes, sir.
Just checking.
So yeah, so now you sound like Chris asking technical questions and shit. So now, 2 days later, I'm in the cab of the 18-wheeler and I say, something wrong with my dick.
Oh.
He said, what? I said, yeah, boy, you got the drip. Yeah, yep. I said, yeah, I got the drip. Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
It gets
you didn't know what the drip is?
I didn't know what the drip was.
No, not you, Dr. Ron. Buck Wild just said, what is that?
You know what it is. Look at his eyeballs.
Is it the G or the S?
Hey, man, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Okay.
They still had a cure for it back then.
Oh, yeah. You getting a shot.
Yes, sir. So now we leave there and go down to Martin Luther King Hospital. Okay. Father and son in the emergency room.
Both of y'all got it.
No, he didn't know. But he wasn't taking no chances.
Oh, okay.
Because he had to go home to my mama.
Oh my God. Come
on. So now
I gotta pull my cross out, Lord Jesus.
So now we in there filling out paperwork, you know, and he didn't tell me not to put the right address on the paperwork. So he puts the address to my grandmother's house on his bill, and I put the address where I live on my bill. So about 3 months later, the bill comes to the house. So my mom opens up the bill because it said Martin Luther King Hospital.
Right.
So right on the bill, it was itemized, had to clap. So she turns to my dad and says, "You took my boy to California and let him catch the clap?" He didn't speak to me. He said, "You big dummy.
You big dummy." Like Fred Sanford. You dummy.
You weren't supposed to put the right address on the. I said, you didn't tell me.
You ain't tell me. Rite of passage.
Sorry.
Rite of passage.
Now check this dumb shit out, okay? You made me cuss now. So my son is about 17 years old, and my baby mama looks at me and says, "You better not take that boy nowhere near a prostitute. Nowhere. Because that rite of passage is going to stop right there. It's not going to continue on from." I felt like I owed him a case of the clap. I just felt like it. You know, like,
what year was that? What year?
You need to see what it feel like.
What year was that, Ron?
What, with my son?
The
90s. You know, somewhere, because we had to be more than that. Let's see, he's 29 years old. He was 17. You do the math. You know
what? No. I don't do math. That's what calculators are for, bro.
But you know, but since we're reminiscing, and this is when I knew firsthand about teachers doing some really slick shit. So this is the 8th grade, and my 8th grade teacher, very attractive, but you don't picture the teacher unless you just sit back and get a good look one day.
I was just about to ask how she looked.
So she was about in heels, about 5'9", hourglass shape. So this woman, we're talking about history now. We're going to history class. So we're taking out our books, and I know she did shit on purpose. So she goes and saunters around the desk to sit on the front of the desk. You know how teachers get, they get the glasses they put into their nose, they have the bun in their hair, and then she unbuttons one button of her blouse, and then she crosses her gams over.
No.
And then she dangles the foot. Dangles the shoe off the foot. Dude, I put it like this. I quote the late, great Robin Harris. I could have fucked the crack of dawn. That's how hard I got. Now, mind you, I'm in class. I can't do nothing with it. And then had the nerve to ask me, Christopher, want to come up here and write on the board?
No.
I said, no, ma'am.
No,
ma'am, I can't take it. And then she said, well, Christopher, if you don't do it, I got to give you an F. And I said, F me.
You didn't even know what you said.
Nope.
I like that stuff.
Yeah,
I like that.
You didn't know you was innocent. You didn't even know what you had just said.
Man. I can't take it.
What grade was that?
8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you was horny as I don't know what.
Man, I could have levitated the desk, not even using my hands. The desk could have levitated and not be, even lifting over my hands.
Man,
look, in Chicago, kids was screwing in 8th grade, Buck Wild.
And then she was giving all the type of signals right off the bat, especially when the chick takes and dangles that shoe.
Dangle the shoe?
Yeah, off of her toe and right in front of you, and she got the legs crossed. That means come and get it. That means for you to.
She was just messing with you guys, though. That's what it was.
That woman was evil.
Yeah,
she was messing with you.
She was evil.
She was a Jezebel.
Yeah, that's right. She was evil.
She was a whore.
I remember.
But I looked for that. For after I seen that, I was waiting. You gonna take the shoes off? I was waiting on that, because that you learned that was a rite of passage, baby.
Yes,
because that was the first thing. That was the first thing when I knew I was gonna get to first base, and then I was still second and third if she took them shoes off. If she took that shoe off, I said, "Oh man, I'm gonna steal second. I'm gonna get this here, and then I'm gonna try to steal home. Cause then if you get that shoe off, oh man, that was just
you
going straight Lou Brock.
Yeah, right home, man.
Now, Buck Wild, did y'all have movies where y'all got to go squeeze on a girl's titty when y'all was growing up?
Oh yeah, I was always too scared though. Yeah.
So y'all don't know nothing about that.
That was scary. Hey,
did you ever see Cooley High? Did you see Cooley High Buck Wild?
Yeah, I just don't remember it. I only saw it
Oh
once.
man, but it's a scene in Cooley High. It's a scene in Cooley High where the hallways, man. That's where we coming out of 8th grade in the grammar school. The hallways, I love them women's that used to stay in them high rises, but them 2 flat and 3 flat buildings, because we was going into the, and then there was always, you could always go in the back and get up under them stairs where you couldn't be seen.
That's right.
Yeah, see, here's the problem though. This was my problem. And maybe one of you guys had the problem too. But when I was young, I was the guy, and I didn't know this, and I just surely didn't know this at the time. And I had older relatives who would tell me, and I didn't believe them. But I was the guy that all the girls picked on nonstop because they had a crush on me and they didn't know how to express it. And I asked, only reason I even know it was true was that I asked one of them later on, the finest girl in 8th grade, Angela Broussard. I said, and this was probably 15 years ago, I said, why did you used to fuck with me so bad? She was like, because I had a crush on you and didn't know how to express it. I was 13. Duh.
Man, but you know what it really was, Buck? You know what it really was?
What?
You was light-skinned, did it?
Right.
Yeah.
California's different.
That had a lot to do with
California's different. California's not like that.
Look, well, I got to do this Chicago story because I had a partner. He was light-skinned, and he had the curly hair too.
Oh no!
And he could sing like Smokey. You understand? And so I never worried about getting any girls, because wherever he was, it was gonna be 2 or 3. And he tell me, you can pick whichever one you want. I'll take the one you don't want then, man. You say, okay, and that's how it was. And you talk about a cat that was running shotgun with him all the time. What we getting ready to do, man?
You know? Leftover.
Wingman. You was a good wingman.
Man, I was just going straight with him every time. It didn't matter because they loved him. And he could sing that Smokey, and I even tried to hit a note too myself. And we used to go, and especially when them projects got built up on Federal, man, we used to go and sing in them hallways and go on the north side and sing in them hallways. I mean, for a bottle of wine and their girls.
There you go.
You guys got some great stories, and I'm just sitting here amazed because I didn't experience any of that.
What?
Yeah,
you missed the radio, man.
Yeah, all he had to do was just show up, and they gave him
with his big ass afro.
All right. Well, look, before we get too far away, I need to say this. See, Reggie, Professor, just mentioned the fact about the curly hair. Now, this past Sunday, a legend in our community, an entrepreneur, just passed away. Ernie Durham. He was the creator of the S-curl back in the day. He just passed away this past Sunday. So I got to give him a shout out to him and his family. He got that covert in his lungs. You know, he was living in Arizona. And when you said curly hair, it made me think about the brother. But he had Rolls Royces. He was a millionaire. Great brother. He used to, give his car up to parades all the time in Chicago. And he had a beauty school on 103rd on the south side of Chicago. Great guy, man. So just since you mentioned curly hair, I had to throw that out there,
What do you guys think about, I saw a picture the other day of my boss when I was at WBLS, Frankie Crocker, and he had his hair conked. And there were certain people in the neighborhood that would, conk their hair.
Wait. And he would what? Get his hair?
He had his hair pressed.
He don't know nothing about that, man.
Processed.
Yeah.
The lie.
You like a girl?
Yes.
Like a relaxer?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
know, like in the movie James Brown.
No,
Malcolm X. Okay, I remember that Malcolm X.
Yeah. See, James Brown
it look white, don't it? It look white.
Yeah. James Brown would sweat his out so bad that you really didn't have a real appreciation of his.
Right.
But I saw that when I looked at that picture of Frankie, and I was just, his hair looked done. His hair looked better than a whole lot of women I knew it that time.
Fried, died, and laid to the side.
And every time you see them cats with their hair pressed, I mean, and I guess it was a connotation of, you know,
want to be like them. Want to be like them, because that was our image, that we wanted to look prosperous and, you know,
look
cute.
white.
Yeah, look like white tea.
Yeah.
As the professor would say, like, we want to look like white tea, you know. So, and then most of them cats that did that stuff wound up like this.
Burn it out.
So I never did the Jerry curl. I never did the flying of the hair. No, none of that.
Because you had that good hair, didn't you, Lee?
Well, I put the conch.
I had curly hair.
Ain't no doubt
Me
about
too.
it. I put the conch in my head. Ain't no shame in my
But you
game.
know what? All I had to do was wet mine and put a little grease in it, and
you straight.
my shit was
But see, but all that comes with being light skinned.
Yeah. Well, now what?
Yeah,
was
but
that
see, the light skin part. But listen, the light skin part didn't have any effect in California. California people are not like.
Well, everybody light skinned that wanted to live in California.
But I'm just saying, in California, you didn't notice light skin like that. It wasn't until I got down south that it became a thing, and I was totally oblivious to it.
Oh, look, man.
Because I'm from California.
So Buck and I, we're around the same age, right? So if I hung out with Buck in high school, it was guaranteed that you would get some trim.
Oh, he gonna get it.
It didn't matter. You could walk in the room. You could be light skinned, obviously,
Chris,
with a kickstand and a limp and one tooth. It didn't matter. You were
like a pirate.
No, Reggie, I ain't gonna give you none because you ain't light enough.
Thank you.
That's right.
Hold on, Chris. I was a virgin until I was in my freshman year in college.
You went to high
That's
school.
your damn fault.
I had no confidence.
Wait a minute.
I had no confidence.
Wait a minute, guy. And a minute ago, he was scared to tell his age. Now he gonna tell everybody he was a virgin until he got to college.
That's his damn fault. That's his damn fault.
I was a goody two shoes.
Every light-skinned brother I knew that was in high school was getting laid.
That had no effect in California. I'm trying to tell you. I wish it did. I wish it did, but it didn't.
Look,
it didn't work for me at all.
You sound like school days, man. I ain't playing.
Now wait a minute. Buck, you're from the Bay Area, right? What part of the Bay Area?
Berkeley.
Okay, East Bay.
College town.
Do you remember when I was on KDIA?
No, that was before my time.
Okay, yeah, I was there in the mid-'70s.
Oh my God, Lee killed it. He killed it. I mean,
and let me just say this. During that time, if you were a straight male, you had more than enough women to deal with.
Yes, sir, because they
just
were freaky.
No problem.
Yeah,
at that time, the ratio was 8 or 9 women to every male.
Right, but Lee, consider I was in grade school, elementary school. It wasn't the same in elementary school, Negro. They're girls. They don't know. They're young and stupid.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
That's why you was a virgin until you got to college, because you thought you was young and stupid.
Very true.
Oh my God. I played house, mama and daddy with the first girl I know. I was 7 years old, and we was going to hide in the closets.
Hey,
I was going to bed in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day.
When we were coming up, every little girl wanted to play house. If you was going, now this is getting away from radio, but once again, 7, 8, 9 years old, you playing house. That's where you was gonna get your first hit.
Man, right. And look, it was so realistic.
Oh, y'all going to jail.
We wasn't grown.
It was so realistic, right? That you would go out and go to work.
Look, you did not listen to none of the music that was going on during that era.
I didn't know what it meant.
Listen to none of it.
I didn't know what any of those lyrics meant.
Look. Free your mind and that ass will follow.
I didn't know what none of that shit meant.
Heaven lies within. Man, that's an instructional music piece.
I didn't know what any of that meant. I was young and stupid.
Oh,
and sheltered. And let me tell you, there's
Why
another
you keep
thing.
calling me and don't say nothing?
I had a big older sister, meaning she was big, a lot bigger than me, and 3 years older. She used to beat my ass and scared me to death. I was scared of everything.
I would have ran away from home.
Because you were light-skinned.
I would have ran
And
away
she
from
was
home.
dark, but again, that didn't mean anything in California.
You were mad at you. You were light-skinned.
You light-skinned?
So she just whooped your ass.
You probably had a lot of bruises on you too.
No, you know what? You know what it was? Hey, I'll tell you what it
Buck,
was.
you was out there with all them pretty women, and you was holding it down till you got to college. Oh, shoot.
Stupid, I know.
Oh, dude.
I ain't pledging no virgins.
Stupid.
Yeah.
I was stupid. But
Look. When I got to New Orleans, it was exactly the same thing. New Orleans had more gay men than a little bit.
I can see
that. When I got there in the early 80s, like 83, 84, something like that, it was a pussy paradise. Okay. Oh man,
just pretty women too, huh?
Over the place. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
man. So I just took my time because most of the women that were down there, they were looking for a straight. I just said, "Hello, come on, let's go to bed." Okay.
And it was known that they put that thing on you.
Man, well, look.
You talking about that voodoo?
Yeah, they put that thing on.
Yeah, put that root on you.
That root on
you. And then bury it in the backyard.
At that time of my life, I didn't care. I wasn't scared. I didn't know Jesus. So I didn't care nothing about no roots, no drawers in the backyard, no dish rags rubbing me, cleaning me off after I didn't came all over their face. None of that stuff. I didn't care. You know?
But you know what?
How did we get to this conversation?
I don't know, but I'm gonna end it right here. But
it's your show, Lee. How did we?
No, I take no ownership of this shit.
All right, Buck Wild. No. What you needed in your life, and I kind of wish I had this. It came later. You remember? Did you ever see the movie The Learning Tree?
Yeah, I remember that.
When Big Mabel got Newt. That's all you needed.
So did.
You needed was for Big Mabel to come and get you
in the middle of a tornado.
Yeah. And then your friends will come to you the next day and say, "I heard we got you."
That's right. That's exactly it.
Hold my head.
I heard you got your cherry. Big Mabel got you.
Mabel got you, dog. She got you.
Hey, man, and that was a classic movie, brother.
That was a classic movie. That was a classic movie.
Gordon Parks, baby.
Gordon Parks wasn't playing, dog.
Yeah, man, look, he put the sex scene in the movie. Okay, you didn't have to figure it out what happened in the middle of the tornado. You saw what happened. Okay?
I don't think I saw that one. I gotta go look that one up.
Learning Tree.
Big Mabel, and Newt was shivering because Big Mabel was kind. Now all you saw was Big Mabel do this here. I said,
That's it.
Yeah.
I wanted to be Newt.
Everybody did.
Okay, Lee. So I'm gonna help you out here. So we're gonna bring this back around the radio. Let's talk a little bit about the days that. Well, were you on the air in the 60s?
Yeah.
In the late 60s?
65.
How suggestive was that music, especially coming from Motown, in that time and place? I mean, when you think about music that was being played on the air by the Supremes, Someday We'll Be Together, Come See About Me. There was a lot of music that was being played. And that's what made another thing that made AM radio so popular, because there were anthems You know, they talk about the Aretha Franklin movie and it not being a big draw at the movie, but I believe that was just probably got conflicted by that Netflix piece coming out first, and pretty much a lot of people saw that, and so running out to see a story on Aretha Franklin at that point.
It didn't do any. It didn't do well at the box office.
No, it didn't do well at the box office.
Damn it.
But the lady that did it before, Jennifer Hudson, she did a fantastic job on the biopic series that they played on Netflix. But the music was so suggestive, you know, back then, that I was wondering, was anybody, when you go back and listen to that music now, was anybody listening to the lyrics?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what about the greatest love song of all time, Temptations' "My Girl"?
I thought you were gonna say let's get it on.
That was another one.
Okay, but that was in the 70s.
Another one. Let's get it on.
But see, during the time in the 60s, there was nothing vulgar or nasty. It was great storytelling and love songs and singing about the appreciation of how much you loved your girl.
Yeah.
All in 3 minutes.
Or Mary Wells, "My Guy."
Yep.
Stevie Wonder, "For Once in My Life."
Right.
Yep. All in
I
3
found
minutes.
someone who loves me. You know, so
Curtis Mayfield, "Never Too Much Love." You'll
Jerry
want
Butler,
me back.
Western Union Man.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Ain't understanding
mellow.
Ain't understanding
Jerry
mellow.
Butler.
Ooh.
Shot like stoned out of my mind.
Yep. Everybody. The
Oh,
Dale.
girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have
Adele.
you seen her?
Seen her. Yeah.
the
The
Dells,
love
yeah.
we had stays
Still waters run deep.
Dells.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
always together.
And that's what we were saying, Buck, that the music was an instruction manual.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
if you laid
Preach,
down
Ron.
the right tracks back to back to back.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand.
You know,
Listen,
look, and that's just the 60s. When you got to the 70s, it was even great because we had this free love movement in the 70s.
Yeah.
I heard I missed it. I heard I really
you
missed
did.
out on that.
So in the 60s, in the late part of the 60s, and you know, if you come around Chicago, you always hear about the basement music era.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Light
You hear about the basement parties.
The red light in the basement.
In the
Red light in
basement
the
parties,
basement.
right? In the basement parties, no one ever danced on the floor. They danced on the walls.
Yes,
That's right.
sir.
Grinding.
And look, y'all see that? Look, y'all see that bewildered look on his face.
And I mean, but that's because you got dudes that were 13, 14, 15. You got raging hormones.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're having raging for hormones. And like all the music at that time, 99% of it was about love and relationships. I doubt if you're going to ever hear. I think it wasn't the pinnacle song that like kind of like changed it. The first nasty record for me was the Shaketas and Jungle Fever.
Jungle
Fever, yes, sir.
Yeah, because they was nasty, because they was
Love to Love You, Baby.
Yeah, with Donna Summer.
Donna Summers, right. Yeah.
There you go.
And then the first real rap song was The Last Poets.
Yeah.
Yep.
They scared of revolution, you know, but they were doing poetry. Now I see you rolling it out, but they were doing poetry, what hip hop was really supposed to be. But they were doing the poetry. Gil Scott Heron.
Gil Scott Heron, he was the bomb.
Yeah, you had all them cats that was doing that stuff, but it was nothing in the 60s ever came with a parental advisory warning
at all.
None.
The hunter gets captured by the game.
By the game, right? Big time song. My Baby Loves Me. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't mess with Bill.
And the OJs was throwing down some love songs like you would not believe.
They called me Mr. Lucky.
If this world were mine.
Marvin and Tammy.
Yep.
You know, Tammy Terrell come see about me. One of the finest songstress out there, man. And she was a beautiful woman.
Hold on, Aretha Franklin. I'm gonna rap on your door, knock on your window
until you come back to me.
until
Yes,
you come
sir.
back to me.
That's right, right. And I
She
think,
sure did.
She was stalking.
I think that was to Dennis. I think that was to Dennis Edwards. Because she was in love with him.
Really? I
She was in love with Dennis Edwards.
Man,
and that
was, wait a minute, and then to come back with RESPECT, find out what it means to me.
Yeah.
Take care of TCB.
Yeah.
And look, even in Ike and Tina was making love.
Take care of business.
Yeah, and Ike and Tina was making love on stage all the time. Y'all ever seen an Ike and Tina Turner show from the 60s?
I'm from East St. Louis.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Man.
Yeah, I couldn't. My head wasn't gonna go. I was looking at Tina's legs all the time.
Man,
I didn't give a shit what she was singing.
Hey, Professor.
No, think about it. Hey, if you ever Buck, when you get a chance, look on Watch on Facebook, and you see the one, the Ed Sullivan's, where he has all the people on there he's in. Look at what he bring out Ike and Tina Turner.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you something. Talking about Rolling the River.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
She took gyrating to a whole
nother level. Yeah.
But see, back then, Ed Sullivan could not even show Elvis from the waist down.
From the waist
down, right?
Why?
Because he was pushing it from the pelvis.
Yeah, and see, that was against FCC regulations.
Oh, that was vulgar?
Yeah, FCC regulations would not allow him to, and it was black and white. It was in black and white. It wasn't even in color.
Right.
And think about when you see him in the movies with a homegirl, and when he do that twist with his leg. Come on, man.
But you know he stole it from the black artist.
Of course he did.
No, he didn't. Yeah. He got that from Forrest Gump. Now you know.
Yeah, right.
Look, even before James Brown, there were artists that were doing that in New York, man, and was killing the game. Frankie Lyman.
Yep.
And the teenagers,
yeah. The teenagers
killing the game.
Jackie Wilson.
Well, y'all know Alan Freed went down for that. Right?
Oh yeah,
y'all know he went down for that, and you do know that Paola was racist. Was based on that because Alan was promoting the black artists.
Yeah,
you know, because
easy money.
Right, because you know, Frank and them had been singing before then, you know, Perry and all them cats, and then Paola it was cool, but it didn't come to notice until Alan started putting all these black people on tour.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then
see, back in that time though, the DJs didn't make a lot of money.
No.
So they had to do the payola, and they had to do the nightclubs and the free concerts and absolutely. You know?
Yeah. Look, let me ask you a question, Buck. You ever heard of sawdust on the floor in the juke joint?
Who?
Sawdust.
Sawdust on the floor in the juke joint.
Not even.
Okay, yeah, that's real stuff, bro. They used to, when the artists used to roll into town, they would play to the jukebox. Okay, the jukebox. They didn't have, DJ sound system, microphones, all that stuff. These guys worked a cappella off of their song on the jukebox.
Yeah.
I know you probably don't even know what a jukebox is, but that's when they had. Come on now. You say you don't know a whole lot of shit, so I'm just trying to help you out.
And respectfully, respectfully.
He say, look, he didn't get laid, so how the hell would he know what a jukebox is?
Exactly.
I mean, so it's basically saying they were lip syncing.
No,
yeah,
they were singing.
They were singing, but they didn't have they didn't have a band.
They didn't care. They didn't travel with a band, especially in the South, and that's where the sawdust thing was really famous in the.
So what was the point in the sawdust? What was the story in the sawdust?
Now that I want to know. Lee, you can probably answer that. You older than everybody.
Well, okay, it kept them from scratching up the floor when they're dancing. and it made it a little easier for you to slide across the floor on the sawdust.
Oh, that makes sense.
And sliding across the floor was big then.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Easier for you to do splits and stuff
Yeah,
like
you
that.
do splits and all that kind of stuff.
I knew he knew, because the Lindy Hop was a big thing, as you go further back. And that was one of the things they were very active with, jumping and flipping and doing all kind of crazy stuff.
Throwing the girl over your head and bringing it between you. And now that's way before my time. I don't know. I've seen videos of that shit. But.
Yeah. Millie Jackson. I told a story about Millie Jackson
on put a log on the fire, baby.
On Al Greer's show one night, he was talking about Millie Jackson, and I saw her live in concert in New Orleans. They were doing the Bayou Classic.
She was the one with the DSLs.
Woo! Don't you say that. Don't you say that. That's blasphemous, man. You're supposed to keep that to yourself. You should phrase it as a wonderful.
Voluptuous. Her lips were very voluptuous.
Very.
Woo.
And in the middle of her concert, she took a Heineken bottle and swallowed it all the way down to the label.
How about that?
Pulled it out.
I'd had to go after
beer. And beer went everywhere. Everybody, every man in the place was like, "Woo!"
Wait, so then she threw it up like The Exorcist?
No, she didn't throw it up. She just swallowed the beer bottle down her throat.
Oh no!
To the label.
See, now you're gonna give me. I'm gonna have night.
Well, you said beer went everywhere. I don't understand what happened after that.
When she because it was a full beer bottle.
When she pulled it out,
beer just like the bottle had came.
She didn't swallow it.
Oh Lord!
She didn't swallow the bear.
Okay, God. Yeah. God, what are you guys talking about?
You got to explain
for cleaning that up.
Yeah, you got to explain everything for Buck.
Well, you know, and still coming up with this with the wax nostalgia of certain eras like 70s, 80s. So for me, I would definitely save up, my allowance and ask my parents could I go to the movies. So say it was like Saturday morning. So I would go to a movie theater here in Chicago. Used to be there on Rhodes, 719 Rhodes, the Rhodes Theater. So I get on the bus, go to Rhodes Theater, especially when they had the Pam Grier Film Festival.
Oh,
and they would show three Pam Grier movies.
Oh my!
I go get my refreshments, my popcorn, and hot dogs and pop. They gave me a tray. I would sit up in the front to make sure my neck would not be in a good shape it was when I walked into the place.
Oh my God!
And as soon as it was me and Pam Grier, damn everybody else.
Oh man,
Pam Grier, and I just sit there like this.
Oh man, yeah, you tried to
it was Pam Grier and me.
No. Hey,
man, look, and I still watch Pam Grier movies to this day. You ain't said nothing but a word.
Hey, let me tell you.
Do you think was she a good actress or was she?
Yes, she was a good actress. Yes, she was.
I'm not looking for no Academy Award nomination.
Them titties should have won an award.
No, but the only thing I hated about that is that only a couple of scenes they let her take them off, but it was always some cat just trying to snatch the bra off, and that pissed me off.
She really wasn't having it.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, she came by V103 when I was there 2-3 years ago, and I got a picture with her, of course, and I posted it on Facebook, and everybody I knew was like, "Wow, you met Foxy Brown." And I'm just sure when I was talking with her, I was like, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I bet you everybody you meet wants to sleep with you. I didn't say that, of course.
You should have.
Yeah, but I think she had a breast reduction later in life, didn't she?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, because she has a ranch and a farm. And they've been trying to get her back out into movies, and she like, man, fuck y'all, I ain't doing this no more. But
there was exploitation on her.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Now, now on the flip side, somebody that was doing it for real, Vanessa Del Rio.
I actually saw her at a strip club.
Me too.
Yeah. He was on the strip club too. Hey, Lee, they had built strip clubs up in Brooklyn, Illinois. And the first night they opened, they brought in Vanessa Del Rio.
Oh,
that joint was packed.
Packed. You hear me? Packed.
But how ain't she 102 years old?
No, she
today she could be, but this was like 20 something. This was 20.
Okay. Yeah. Back in the 70s when she was still making movies, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Man, look, my dad always get me in trouble. Me and my dad went to a place up on Lawrence Avenue where she was the featured dancer. Now, of course, every guy in the place is standing up on the lip of the stage, you know, while she's doing her routine. So she takes off a pair of stockings and sticks it up in her private area. And then she pulls it out and she throws it into the crowd. And like a fastball, it came straight to me. Boom.
Oh.
And I got it. And I didn't even know nothing about sniffing nylons at the time, you know.
You put it in your pocket. You didn't even know what to do with it.
I didn't even know what to do with
Pervy.
Well, this is nice. She gave me some pantyhose.
Look, my dad say, boy, you's the luckiest man on planet Earth.
Yes, sir.
You're like, why? I don't wear pantyhose.
Right?
What am I going to do with these?
He said, boy, let me see them things.
I had to get them pantyhose for that boy. He didn't know what to do with them.
And while they were still fresh, you know, he's like, let me see them things, boy. Let me see them things. You know?
And you know, when you saw her, she didn't do anything. I mean,
he didn't dance.
She was boring. I mean, when people, like he said, it was the same thing up in Brooklyn. People were standing there about to kill themselves. Like he said, she rolled down her pantyhose real slow.
She did a burlesque thing.
Yeah, she did it. That's what it was. She was like a burlesque thing. It was nothing. She wasn't doing nothing that
entertaining.
Well, it was entertaining because the only time you saw it was on pornography.
Right. See, you guys, y'all from that twerking era. See, that's what y'all call dancing and all that stuff. See, back then, they wasn't doing no twerking.
Yeah, they wasn't doing that. That's what I said. But
is twerking the equivalent of grinding in the basement?
No. Grinding in the basement is actually very innocent
and exotic.
Yeah,
tell that to the Jamaicans.
And stimulating.
No, but think about it.
You ever been to a Jamaican party? They're all grinding all up on each other. That ain't innocent.
Well, but the thing is, when you're a kid and you get the first time you go to somebody's house to a party, and you've always had this girl that you wanted to be with, and you get a chance to have this slow dance,
man,
and you get that grind. Yeah. It was innocent.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Really, Mike? That is some
predatory
stuff.
No, it was really okay. When I say it was innocent,
that was nasty.
Hold on a second. When I'm talking about innocent, I'm saying you knew you were not getting any that night.
No.
You were not going to have
hoping and praying.
Yeah, you were right, and you still wasn't gonna get none that night.
You wasn't getting none that night,
but you gonna that dry grind.
That's what I'm saying. When you got that,
I never had one of those.
Yeah, well, the only time I was gonna press up, and I guess you guys are right. I have to agree. The only time I was gonna press up that hard is when I knew I wasn't gonna get none.
You ain't getting none.
That's right. Because you trying to think about it, guys.
Okay.
You trying to impress the girl, right? You trying to impress her, let her feel your heart on.
Right.
That's all it was.
Let her know you care.
That's nasty.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, have any of you guys ever gone to a drive-in with your girlfriend, you and her in the back seat, and the mother and the youngest sister in the front seat, and you're trying to be cool? That happened to me one time, and the mother fell asleep.
Oh, what's your finger smell like?
That's right.
And
then you was coming home to the neighborhood. Man, I got it, man. Check it all out.
I'm sorry, Uncle Lee. I had to say Hey, Lee, I'm sorry.
Especially if you were driving that night and you were driving like this.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I was too young. I couldn't even get a license at that point.
Look.
Oh no,
So what
man.
did you get at that point?
Oh, and some kissing and some rubbing and stuff like
rubbing
that.
some
Oh,
elbow,
no,
like
man.
everybody else,
Oh.
getting some elbow, you know.
Yeah.
Elbow.
But you're too scared to go any further.
I was always scared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
so up to you went to college, we know.
What?
Right.
What?
Right.
I was always scared.
Brother. When I was a dirty, as a professor used to call me all the time,
Dirty,
you know,
dirty.
dirty.
Right.
I
Early
would get
dirty.
stuck off with somebody's girl, and then they'd be mad when we come back, talking about where y'all been, what y'all been doing. I said, what you think? I've been screwing your old lady. What, you want to smell my finger?
Oh, damn. You're lucky to be alive.
And I'm glad he did not, because his old lady was on my finger at the time. Okay.
See?
You know, so like when I was
Transparency
dirty,
will set you free. He being
know,
transparent. That's all. This ain't nasty. This is transparency.
I wasn't always saved, y'all. I'm just telling you. Thank God for Jesus.
Hey, me and you both.
Y'all know, and maybe with the exception of Buck Wild, you know that, when hormones was raging at that time and you was talking with your buddies, the only way you could prove your salt is that you had to come back home with some evidence.
Something on your finger.
Like my boy in Soul. Like my boy in Soul playing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he stuck it in the sandwich, right? Ooh, girl, you
with the child.
and then went into the bathroom with DL Hughley and told him, "Oh man,
that's crazy."
All right. Well, listen. The whole purpose of having all of you guys here was and have a contest, but you guys have blown the contest right out of the water. Because this was supposed to be the Ugly Shirt Thursday.
Well, Reggie's in it.
Reggie gets the Ugly Shirt Award.
Oh yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, he in it.
Nobody told me.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, I mean,
I wear this shirt every damn day.
Leah closed second though. Leah closed second though with that floral
Hawaiian thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
And look, and one button is missing here on the shirt.
Damn.
I have not had this shirt on in probably 10 years. Somebody gave it to me as a gift. I don't know.
It still fits?
Yeah.
Oh, well. All right.
Yeah.
It's the collar on that shirt, Lee. It's some it's really crazy about the collar. Right?
It is. It's like, it is crazy. Yeah. You're right.
Well, let me say this. It has been a pleasure, really having all these guys on the show. It is
absolutely.
It's over 100 plus years of broadcasting on this platform right here. And I know people have been making comments, how they've been
probably closer to 200.
Yeah, but it's really been a very, very good show tonight, and I hope you guys don't be no strangers and come back. I'm gonna say that up front.
It's not like this every time.
Hey,
no,
we try
to. We usually
I thought it would be.
Yeah,
y'all entertaining.
We tried to. Well, see, I'm the one that acts a damn fool. You see how quick I turned into sex? Yeah.
I mean, wait a minute, you tore the knob off. You were like,
and then Mike tried to save it. Well, moving back to radio.
Let's get back to radio.
Well, see, y'all was mentioning money. See, so I said, okay, this is a segue. Let me get it in,
See, there you go again. No pun intended. Right. Lee, you slow on the rim shots, man. That was a rim shot moment right there. Man.
I'm a little slow. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just blown away with all of the talent and spontaneity.
Yeah. And I love you guys, man. Thanks for letting me be a part of it. I love you guys.
Yeah. I talked to Mike yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, "What are you doing Thursday at 8:00 Central Time?" He said, "I'll be watching these five guys on YouTube." And I said, "Really?" I said, "So why don't you join us?" So that's how that happened.
You ain't telling the whole story. I said, I'm normally watching these. I threw him off, right? I said, I'm normally watching these five guys that's on YouTube, and the guy that was the host been missing for about 2 or 3 weeks and came back and was slowing the pace of the fucking show down.
All right now, look.
He did say that. I forgot. But
I did the same thing with Buck Wild. I did the same thing. I said, man, what you doing? You know, what you doing, man? You know, you want to come by? You know, we can tell all the people how you created the intro and give you a nice little shameless plug. You know, if you need an intro for your show, come on by, and hopefully he'll get it right this time. You know, but you know,
baby.
I'll play the intro that Buck Wild did for us, and so I'll use that as we're going out, so you guys can see what he's talking about.
Great work. He does great work.
Yeah, great stuff.
Oh yeah,
I'm just glad to be in the room.
Yeah.
You understand? Because you know me, I ain't nobody.
No, that's not true. You're the professor.
Professor.
Shoot.
Man, he give cliff notes on everybody. You hear me? If you mention a name, he got the cliff notes on it, y'all. He's talking about he ain't nobody. He know every damn body. Okay.
All right. Before we go, let me try the professor, see if he knows who this guy is. Gary U.S. Barnes.
Yeah. I dance to 2:45 with the hands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now he's from my hometown. Did you know that?
Oh, okay.
You just stumped the legend.
No, he got it. He nailed it.
That's what I'm saying.
And then he made this other one that I really like. Get up off of your tent.
Right.
Yeah.
That was beach music.
Yeah, man. Right. Get up and do your thing. But my brothers used to turn me on with that stuff.
Okay. I got one more, and then we're gonna go. The Showman.
Oh, you might have got me on that one, because as far as I know, as the Showman is concerned, I got to give it to Jackie Wilson. They called him Mr. Dynamite, but tell me who the Showman was.
There was another group from Norfolk. The lead singer in the group was General Johnson.
Oh yeah, you talk about I'm the chairman. The chairman's of the board. And they made that other one every
Give me just Tuesday. A little more time.
Yeah, and if you dance to the music, you got to pay to the piper. So those were the offspring, or they benefited from HD and H.
That's right. Holland Dozier right. Holland Dozier and Holland, when they left Motown and started
and did the Invictus label.
And Hot Wax.
Yeah, that was Stick Up Highway Robbery and all that stuff.
Right.
Stole My Love from me. Yeah.
Let me also say this in closing with everybody. Once again, you know, knowing Ron and Reggie for years, and it dawned on me as I'm looking at everybody on the panel. I used to read in the trade papers, whether it was R&R or anything else, or Billboard, the three gentlemen above me. I read your names back in the day. If somebody would have told me I would get a chance to know you guys, I would tell them, don't give me no peyote. I won't take no more peyote. I can't do it no more.
Oh, right.
Just the fact that you
cry, boy.
Hey man, we need the ratings. Go on, cry your ass off. That's great,
man.
But seriously, it is a beautiful thing, you know, to be in the same space in this situation.
I love you for that, Chris.
Man, and I have to echo those same sentiments. You know, I was always you know, into the history of Chicago radio, and you know, and when I started teaching at Howard, and I really wanted to know something on the inside, you know, I heard Lee was out there, and he didn't hesitate to talk to me. And I came out to Silver Springs, wherever he was. I forgot where the office was when he was working for Radio 1. And it wasn't no half hour. It was 2 hours.
Atlanta, Maryland.
Yeah. It was 2 hours. We sat and we talked, you know, and I'm honored to meet you, Mike. I read about you in these times, Buck Wild. I'm honored to meet you as well. You know, these two guys on the bottom, I already know them. I work with Chris. You know, me and Chris, we got some stories about us working together. And Dr. Ron, you know, I ain't gonna say nothing, but you know Dr. Ron.
That's dirty right there.
Yeah, that's dirty Ron. Dirty Ron.
Well, look, let me say this before we disappear. Y'all hang around, hang up after this is over with, because the post game is even worse than the game. Okay, I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, the green room talk.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, I really appreciate all of you. I love you, and I feel so blessed to have
love you back.
Have the opportunity to hang out with you guys tonight. Let's do it again. I mean, anytime you want to be a part of the show, just give me a call or text. Say, hey, I want in. And the show is called Five Guys and You. We have 6 guys on tonight, and there've been a couple of ladies pop in on the chat and what have you. But we don't discriminate. And tonight was 5 dirty old men talking shit about back in the day. And I promise you, it won't be this way all the time. And we talked a lot in the first hour about radio, and then we lost our minds. But come back again. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, whether you're listening to us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch or what some of the others that we're on. And we do this out of love. We're not making any money out of it. I'd like to try to get to that point and get some ads in so that I would love to pay these guys for their time. But everybody in here is doing this because they love what we're doing.
Well, you are rich. You could pay us if you wanted to.
No, but see, I've been married 3 times, so.
Oh yeah, that makes a difference, bro.
I lost half every time I got divorced. So. And you don't have to be in California. It's just about every state is like that.
Yep. Yeah. Look, hey, Mark, if you go over to my website, I got a Zelle information up there. You ain't got to be stingy now. I see Mark trying to say Zelle. Yeah, I got a connection now. Don't be stingy now.
I've been thinking about throwing a
Zelle party,
Patreon or something up that people want to make a little donation, because I mean we are spending our own money to do what we're doing, and Ron is trying to get a new computer, and we've been talking about it for about a year now through the whole COVID thing.
Has it been that long, Ron? Come on,
man. Please, man. Look, these cans ain't selling like they used to, man. I used to pick cans up on the side of the road. They ain't going like they used to, man. I'm trying to tell you now. But if people
pop
keeping
bottles
them
ain't
cans,
working.
yeah, they keeping them cans, man. They ain't throwing them out on the road no more, bro.
Hey, my dad used to collect them. I used to make a little change on the side.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, they keeping them now, brother.
It's a good hustle. Cardboard boxes and all that. But listen, folks, thank you for spending time with us, and we hope that you were entertained and all that good stuff. Anybody else has any closing remarks?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We had fun. I had fun.
Me too.
Oh, it was a blast. Are you kidding?
Fantastic.
So I'm going to play the intro to the show that young man in the upper middle slot there, Buck Wild, produced for us, and we love you, man, and we appreciate and respect your talent. And I'm going to try to hook you up with everybody I know so that you can continue your craft.
I'm sorry.
Get laid.
So he can get laid, right? That's important. Right. Shit. He fresh out of college, y'all. He still ain't getting laid.
Right. He's the oldest version. So good night. Be safe. If you haven't yet, get the damn shot. Stop messing around. I got it, and I waited until May. I got my first shot in May, and I'm good. I don't have
Dr. Ron got the shot back in Vegas a long time ago.
That's right.
Yep, Sunset Strip started it all, brother.
The original shot. So with that, I'm gonna play the intro to the show, and thank you again, Mr. Buck Wild.